remind us that while tonight we cheer for our different teams, we share a common love of country and a responsibility to remember those who protect. You are from Rearen. We honor you. We show you our support, our heartfelt appreciation, and we ask everyone everyone to please join in a round of applause for all veterans in attendance. God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of America.
Are they going to do that? Oh. Captain's now?
Serra has won the toss, the further option in the second half.
And prior to our prayer and anthem, this past January, Junipero Serra High School suffered a tremendous loss with the passing of Father Joe Bradley. Perhaps I should say we lost the physical presence of Father Joe, because the spirit of Father Joe lives on in the hallways, classrooms, and sports venues of Serra High School. But most importantly, Father Joe lives on in the hearts of every Padre he came in contact with. Father Joe became synonymous with Padre football as the chaplain of the football program, leading the varsity football chapel services each week throughout the football season. It was clear from all who were blessed to be in those chapel services that Father Joe loved God, family, and Padre football. Tonight we honor the memory of Father Joe, and we welcome members of the Bradley family to Brady Family Stadium and Freitas Field. And while I am sure that right now, in some far corner of heaven, Father Joe has gathered as many Padres as he can find, and he's leading the cheers for Padre football, I also know that Father Joe is also voicing his support for the Crusader community, because Father Joe knew that more than anything else, Catholic, with a small c, means universal. And Father Joe always believed that life was bigger than football, but not by much. We love you. We miss you, Father Joe. We thank you for your dedication to God, church, and Serra High School. And we especially thank your family for lending you to the church as a whole, and to Serra High School in particular. And we would like to honor the memory of Father Joe by presenting his family 2 Serra football jerseys with his name and graduating year proudly displayed. God bless the Bradley family and all those who still think of such a wonderful man.
No, he already ran out. He ran out of field time real quick. That's why he didn't know. That's pretty much.
And now we ask all who are able to please rise and remove your caps, as we will begin with a prayer followed by Mr. Joe Murphy and the Padre Pep Band and the national anthem. Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Loving God, this is your night. As much as we celebrate Crusader and Padre football, we must honor you. because it is from you that we enjoy life and that these young men enjoy the talents with which you have blessed them. As Father Joe always remembered to pray, please bless the entire Crusader community, the entire Padre community. May we recognize that tonight isn't about who's best as a man, because that was Jesus. But it's all about honoring you. It's all about honoring these young men. It's all about honoring the love and commitment we share as humanity. May we walk off this field tonight, regardless of the outcome, committed to doing what we can to make sure that the love, the compassion, the mercy and understanding that Jesus preached and taught is practiced by all. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We also thank San Mateo County Fire Truck 23, and now Mr. Joe Murphy and the Padre Pep Band. San Mateo County Fire Truck 23 and Mr. Joe Murphy and the Padre Pep Band. Our headlinesman, Greg Baranek. Umpire Barry O'Driscoll and the white hat dude, Mike Adam.
What are you saying? What do you, I mean, it's going to pick it up from the microphone. What do you want to pick it up from? So we got the band coming out, going into your camera, and then coming back to you. Oh, so that mic is coming here? Not clear.
And a big thank you to the ladies of Mercy for helping us with our cheers for the first half.
So the audio source could be something could be pointing to this input. So not the mic, so it should be the line input. Okay. I tried that earlier. Is that on input one? I'm not sure. That's one there. So, you want it? Well, I got two down here. I can just put two on. I got it on two now. Okay.
up into the end zone. It'll be a first down, Crusaders.
Is it working yet? Okay, we'll try.
And for Serra, you'd certainly love to go in there with a West Catholic League championship.
We're awaiting the ball to be made ready for play. Michael Mitchell Jr. has completed 70% of his passes this year for this undefeated Riordan team. Rated tops in the CCS coming in.
Yeah, the yardage pops out at you too, over 2,600 yards. And he's got 4 quality wide receivers to throw to.
And they took too long to get this one snapped. And in fact had to take a timeout. So before we've had a scrimmage play in this football game, Tony, a timeout has been taken by the Crusaders. Gives us a chance to talk a little bit more about these two teams. Adir Ravipati coming over from Menlo Atherton, where he's been a state champion in the past in 2018 with MA, trying to do the same thing here at Riordan for a program that was really experiencing some doldrums when he came in to be the head coach.
Scott came in here 4 years ago, and as you said, things were not going well at all for the Crusaders, but every year they've gotten a little bit better. Last year into the playoffs, this year a chance to win the WCL title.
And now we at last will have our first snap of this highly anticipated game, and it's a rollout and a pass to the right-hand side, and it's caught by Kyle Welsh. And that's good for about 5 yards in the open field, bring up about 2nd and 7 yards to go. So he only got 3 on the play. That'll put it at the 23-yard line for Riordan. 2nd and 7 on the Crusaders' second snap of the game.
Yeah, 3 defenders really got around him very quickly. They reacted to the football very, very quickly and held him to a short gain.
We talked to Patrick Walsh. He said that you're going to be looking at an offense that reminds you of Art Briles' Baylor teams, and they go for the home run ball in the direction of Judge Nash, and it is incomplete. Good coverage there by the Padres. Giovanni Henley, who some consider the best player on this Serra team, was back there in coverage.
And
along
Judge
with,
Nash,
go ahead.
893 yards coming in, and he is off to college next year, and it's going to be in the Ivy League, sir. Harvard. Dream schools. Of course, a 4.0 GPA goes with that. You can't get into Harvard with average grades.
Well, there are a few people who have done that, but Judge Nash is not one of them. So Riordan faced a 3rd and long here on its opening series. This is a team that doesn't have to punt very often, as we are playing our first quarter here, 11-14 remaining in the first. Riordan in its first possession, no score. Mitchell awaiting the play call. Serra rushing 3. Mitchell flush to his right. He's going to try to throw off his back foot at the last minute. He spins one in the direction of Perrion Williams. And a very nice defensive series. Then a couple of incompletions. One long, one short. They made him scramble, and Riordan will have to punt.
Yeah, they went a 5 spread. We knew they were going to go 4 with that old Baylor offense. That time they went empty, 5 out there, and really just the pressure was on so quick. Michael just had nowhere to throw it. He just had to get rid of the ball.
Your kicker and your punter for the undefeated Crusaders is Connor Wallace. And Riordan going 3 and out its first series. Here's the boot away by Wallace. And it's going to give Serra terrific field position down on the 45-yard line of the Crusaders by Bowie Angelis, one of their linebackers in coverage. And the Padres go to work. And we're going to have a chance to look here, partner, at whether it will be William Orr Jr., the freshman, or Caleb Bandel, the junior. They've split time as the signal caller this year for the Padres.
Yeah, Walsh told me that both guys have played quite a bit this year. Both guys will play today. They kind of bring a different set of skills to the position.
And with a back on his left, it is Vandell to hand off on the first play from scrimmage for Serra tonight. And the handoff goes to one of their great workhorses, Isaiah Singleton, who's run up over 700 yards on the ground this year. That was 124th carry of the season, and he gets close to a Padres first down. It'll be 2nd and 2.
They're able to pick up a nice gain there on first down against a very tough defensive line here, anchored by a couple of guys up there on the defensive front. The senior, well, they've had a really good year. They've been able to stop the run with regularity, but not on that first play.
Vandell, the 6'4", 190 junior. 2nd and 2 from the Riordan 37-yard line. Singleton is given the football again, and he's going to be pushed back for a loss. Nice pursuit to the football by a couple of Crusaders, including number 21, Zachary Kleppen from the defensive end spot.
Yeah, a host of defenders on that play, but Kleppen was first, able to get across that line of scrimmage and turn that 2nd and short into a 3rd and longer as they get the tackle for loss. And you saw evidence of a swarming defense right there, nowhere for the back to go.
A lot of folks think this game will be very close. And again, Riordan has not tasted defeat this year and come in looking for the victory in the John Baxter Memorial Trophy game here in honor of the late coach who coached it for both programs. And the give is a sweep on 3rd and 3 that's going to get Serra its first down of the game as it goes into the hands of Giovanni Henley. He's able to rush around the left end and evade a couple of people, finally knocked down by Skylar Tiatia, the linebacker for Riordan. First down, Serra.
Yeah, Grant came up there. He had a chance to make the tackle, but he got juked out, and that turns into a very positive play and a first down as they move the change for Serra. And of course, that's one key that you have to have for a back. Can you make the first guy miss, Scott? He did right there. It turned into a good play.
So from the 38 to the 32, they needed 3, they got 6, and now they go into that double wing formation, that old school formation. Direct snap goes to Henley, and his big uglies push him forward down near the 25-yard line. He falls on top of Tiatia, the previous tackler, and in there on the action as well was the defensive tackle, Pita Tanayulu, and it's another great big gain for Serra, and they're having the real easy go of it here in the first few minutes of the game.
Yeah, just push the whole pile back. Tommy Tofi goes both ways, the tackle, and he was in there. He'll be headed off to Oregon, but he's about well over 300 pounds and 6'6". To get him pushed back, you're really doing something.
So that'll be a 7-yard gain for Henley, 2nd and 3 from the 25, 8:30 remaining in our first quarter. No score between Riordan and Serra. Vandell gives to Singleton, and Singleton picks up the first down as a nice hole opened up for him on the A-gap on the right-hand side. Tackle made there by Riordan's Tavita Tuifua, the 6'1 junior linebacker, and Serra has just been able to do what they want.
Yeah, had a good A-gap, had some room right there, able to exploit it. A little bit of a stutter step, saw the opening and hit it.
And now going under center for a direct snap is Malachi Taufo'o. And out of that double wing, Serra's able to pick up a few more as officials going to spot the football down at the 17-yard line. So that will be a 3-yard gain. 2nd and 7 from the Riordan 17 with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, so far so good for Serra. Everything except for one play has been positive. You see the gain right there. 2nd down and a very manageable situation.
Just tuning in, Riordan went 3 and out. This is Serra's first drive, and it's going well for the Padres so far. Shotgun snap to Vandell, give to Singleton, and he's able to fall forward beyond the 15 down to the 12-yard line.
Yeah, good quickness.
3rd and manageable. Go ahead, partner.
Good quickness by Singleton. Gets it, hits the hole very quickly. Didn't look like there was a whole lot of room there. Didn't look like there was a whole lot of room there, Scott, but he was able to exploit it very quickly. Able to make it a short yard situation here. Of course, 2-down territory anyway.
Well, good news is at least you're hearing me loud and clear. All right, it is 3rd and 2 from the 12. Singleton once again pushed backward, and he's going to be coming up short. So decision for Darius Bell, the one-time Riordan standout on the field and Riordan offensive coordinator who calls the plays for the Padres. And they give him 1 yard, and it'd be 4th and 1 from the 11.
Yeah, you know they're going to go for it. DJ Sanchez, number 1 for Riordan, able to get on that pile quickly and get them stopped to prevent the first down, at least there on 3rd. Now let's see if they can make it here on 4th.
Big early play here, and they go into the wing. Henley takes a direct snap after he is the recipient of the pitch from Talafo'o, and it is first down and goal.
Yeah, nice footwork right there. Kind of got to that line and then decided, you know, I see a hole here off to my right. I'm going to exploit that. Does so for the first down, and the drive stays alive.
And what you've seen here, at least we've been able to see it here from our booth position, is that Serra has been moving in and out of the packages. We have not seen Orr take a snap from under center yet. Bandel has run the offense in the more conventional format, and then sometimes they go right into that double wing that Coach Walsh has installed. So 1st and goal from the 7 for the Padres. Here's Singleton. Practically untouched to the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Padres with 5:44 remaining in our opening quarter. And in a game to determine the West Catholic League Championship, it's the Padres going on top by 6-0.
Yeah, 45-yard drive, and just really a couple of plays that were negative. Everything else was positive, and you saw Singleton go off the left side that time, and really the left side of that Serra offensive line just blew everybody out over there. And as you said, Scott, untouched for the TD.
One drive for Riordan, no first downs. Serra, beneficiary of a short punt, took over on the Riordan 45 and brings it directly to the end zone almost without delay. Every play, save 1 or 2, was a positive play. Saul marks on now for the point after. And it is up.
It was good. I think we had a flag.
I certainly heard a whistle before the kick was taken. We may have to see it taken again. They may have gotten a delay here. Or an illegal shift. Our white hat tonight, Mike Adam.
Encroachment on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. 1 on time down.
Okay, would you go for it now that it's a little closer? It's on the 1 instead of the 2?
Could be tempting, especially with the way the offensive line has performed so far. But it looks like they're going to leave Marks out there to kick the PAT.
Could not have asked for a better start if you're the Serra Padres in this capacity crowd here tonight in San Mateo, and the weather cooperated as well. We've had rain earlier this week. The kick by Marks, this time it'll count, and this time it is good. And with 5 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in our opening period from San Mateo, it's the Padres 7 and the Crusaders nothing.
Yeah, short field after that short punt there, Scott, and Serra really wasting no time and going the 45-yard distance to put it in the end zone. And as you said, that not a lot of things went wrong on that first drive, and they were able to run the ball with relative ease. And a couple times they were able to just sort of push the pile backwards, even when there wasn't a hole there. And if you're the Crusaders right now, you're thinking to yourselves, well, come on, guys, defensively, we made that a little too easy for them.
Early days, though, if you're a Crusaders fan, and it has been hard to maneuver around this neighborhood since about 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The JV game went in favor of the Crusaders earlier today. That means something to some people who come into the stadium looking at the varsity game. Does not necessarily portend anything to other observers, myself included. And Riordan in a position they've not been in very often, playing from behind as a touchback by Saul Marks. 7-0, Serra lead, 5:44 remaining in our first. We'll continue to give you score and time as often as we can, as you enjoy the classic view of football the way it was meant to be. Coach Walsh's 25th season here, coming off a down year, 5-6 last year, went out in the first round of the CCS playoffs. Well, Riordan picked up 1 win last year in the CCS over Soquel, and then went out to Los Gatos in round 2. Mitchell will give on 1st and 10 from the 20. And not much there.
Yeah, that Serra defense really fired up. He had too many guys across that line of scrimmage that time. As Hank Strand would say, too much leakage on that play, guys. Too many blue shirts on the other side. Nowhere to go.
That's Adonai Brown who took the carry. He is back after missing a couple weeks with injury. So he is in the eye, and then will be set in motion. Mitchell takes the snap here on 2nd and 10. Brown catching out in the flat, gets past one man, but then brought down in the open field as he slid around Aiden Labrador, but it was R.J. Goldbeck, the junior safety, up to make the tackle.
A short gain there, but Brown has had himself quite a year, Scott. 1,600, better than 1,600 yards, averaging nearly 140 per game. Classic power back. He does have some breakaway ability as well. Guy that can make you miss, but for the most part, he's the kind of guy that's going to run over a defender rather than around.
Rearen left in 3rd and 7, which was the same scenario in their first drive. We have 4:28 remaining in our first quarter, 7-0 Padres. Mitchell back to pass, throwing deep down the right sideline, and he's got his man into Serra territory for the first big play chunk of the day. It's Sinai Thomas with his 35th reception of the year, and it's a Rearen first down.
Yeah, Thomas looked like he was just on a go route, and Mitchell put that ball in a perfect situation, had one-on-one coverage here down the near side, and he put it right over the top, able to beat number 7 Cornell James down the field. Perfect throw, nice catch. Crusaders.
27-yard pickup, and now they're going for the home run. Man is open, a leap, a grab, incomplete. A good call by the official there, Greg Jones, and no argument from the Rearen sideline as it was thrown ever so slightly out ahead of a wide open Judge Nash, 2nd down.
Well, that was a pretty good looking throw, just a little bit too far for Judge, but God, coming over here from my vantage point, that almost looked like he came up with that, which would have been one of those just absolutely circus catches. You see the start and stop up there, able to get behind the defender, and that was very nearly one of the great catches that you'll ever see.
It was Hank Stram's phrase as we see a penalty marched off for Rearen. It would have been the bye-bye blues. Don't make me break out my Jack Buck impression. I've been doing that way too often lately. So, in fact, the play won't count. It goes back 5 yards into Rearen territory at the 49-yard line.
Judge Nash having that great year as well, part of this quartet, this fantastic quartet of receivers. All these guys going to be going on and playing at the next level.
4:05 remaining in our opening quarter. Scott Armstrong, Tony Schultz, our Bay Area Sports TV. Nice to have you with us from San Mateo. And there's the pitch to Perion Williams. The Utah Utes commit is tripped up just shy of the original line to gain. So they get 4 of that back. Good pursuit there by the Padres. It will be 2nd down and 11.
Looked like number 16, Tristan Trinidad, came up there and upended him. Looked like he was going to have some room possibly, but Trinidad able to get up there and make that submarine tackle and backs him up a yard.
Rearen back up on the football as we return to live action. 2nd and 11 from the Serra 47-yard line. Pass is bobbled and intercepted. And a rare interception thrown by Mitchell and taken away by Aiden Labrador, who was the only player in the vicinity. And Serra flips the script and will take over with good field position. So the first 2 drives for Rearen are not what they had planned on.
And you see the ball's just overthrown. Labrador's there, and he makes a fine catch. Intended for Perion Williams, who looked like he was open, but the ball just sailed. And you talk about a rarity, just the 4th interception of the year for Michael.
Change of possession at 3:22 of the first quarter. Serra leading 7-0 and taking over on its own 39-yard line. So only the 4th interception thrown this year by Michael Mitchell Jr. And the give is to Singleton, and Rearen is right there to snuff it out. About 1 yard gain. Skylar Tiatia up to make the stop. 2nd and 9 coming up from the 40 for the Padres.
Yeah, nice play by Tiatia there. He'll be off to San Jose State. Guy's great in the run game, loves to play downhill. We saw it right there. Also pretty good in coverage as well, Scott. He's got a couple of interceptions this year, and kind of one of those, the modern day linebacker where, you can't just be one or the other. You kind of got to be both, good on the run and also be able to cover backs and tight ends coming out of the backfield.
This play comes from the Serra 40-yard line with 2:45 remaining in the opening period. Padres holding that 7-0 lead. Vandell back to pass, and pass is caught into the flat, but not much there. About a gain of a yard. It's hauled in by Charlie Walsh, the head coach's son. The tackle immediately made by Rearden's Isaiah Grant.
Kind of all over that play. No chance after the catch to run with it. Grant was just all over. That's one thing you get with all the short plays right at the the line of scrimmage or behind, if you can't get it to the receiver quick enough, he just doesn't have time to square his shoulder, Scott, and make a move. That's always going to be in favor of the defender.
That puts Serra into its first third and long. Third and 7 at its own 42 with 2 minutes left in quarter number 1. For the WCIL Championship, glad you're with us. We hear a whistle, and I'm thinking the Padres, to spare field position, might have called the timeout, but they elected not to do that, and it is a delay of game. We've seen a few of those so far today, Tony.
Yeah, one before we had a play from scrimmage. That last play, Isaiah Grant looked like he was blitzing on that play, and I'm not sure if it confused the Padres or not, but it put a little bit of doubt in their mind, a little hesitation. It cost them 5 yards.
Memory serves, that's the first Padre penalty, 2 against Rirodan in this opening quarter. So that stopped the clock, 1:48 remaining quarter number 1. And now putting the Padres into 3rd down and 12. And Dell calls for the football, surveys, the rush is on him, the pass to the right-hand side, he just throws that away.
Boy.
And they may be looking for grounding right here.
Yeah, there was nobody there. The Crusaders had a stunt going on up front, looping one defender over another, and they got good pressure. It looked like he just dumped the ball away. I didn't see him out of the pocket. I certainly didn't see a receiver in the vicinity.
Conversation going on between our lead official Mike Adam and head coach Ravapati, who is up and down the sideline pleading his case, looking for 5 additional yards, as well as that loss of down. So fact of the matter is the Padres will have to punt away the football, and so Riordan holds firm. After the interception is thrown by Mitchell, a position he's not very often in, his defense buys him a reprieve, and the punt will come here from Saul Marks from the Serra 37.
Yeah, good stand by that defense. You give up that touchdown the first drive, you get the interception, and you feel like, boy, we're in a tough situation. We've got to get a stop here, and they did.
Rearen Williams standing on his own 25-yard line to receive this punt, first of the game for the Padres, who lead by 7-0 on the Singleton rushing touchdown. Marks taking his time, the Australian football-style kick, and Williams is not going to have a chance to field this. The Padres better be careful not to touch it, and they're able to stand outside the fire, to quote Garth Brooks, and that one was all the way down inside the 5-yard line, where it is down successfully by Jace Peavy. And Riordan is going to have to start in the shadow of its own goalposts with its 3rd drive of the evening.
Talk about taking your time. He was just waiting for a moment there. I thought he was going to pass the football, but he was just waiting because he had plenty of time. No rush put on by the punt defense team there for Riordan, and it really backfires on them because they're going to start in the shadow of their own goalpost.
We came on air saying this was the biggest game in the Bay Area tonight, and if you can find a better one, it's all yours. We have some other games we're keeping an eye on around the Bay, and we'll get into that as we have a chance. And after a fake handoff to Brown, it's Mitchell on the keeper, rushing up the middle and getting Riordan some breathing room with a first down. He slides just outside the 15-yard line.
We talked about Mitchell's great numbers. He's broken all the league records, Scott, and he's probably obviously one of the better quarterbacks in the area. And one thing he has improved on, his mobility as he's gotten older. The 4-year starter, able to scramble there, averaging over 4 yards a carry coming in.
1st and 10 from the 15. The pass goes to the left-hand side. It is caught by Welch. Welch shakes one man, then another, and finally brought down after picking up a new set of downs. Tackle made by Serra's R.J. Goldbeck after a couple of men tried to get him, and Kyle was able to leverage his way to yards after catch.
Kyle, 7 touchdowns on the year, 630 yards coming in, and you saw that screen over there on the far side. He was able to exploit that very well, had the block in front, picked up a nice gain.
1 minute left in the first quarter. Riordan trailing 7-0. Here's the handoff to Williams. A couple of games through injury. You knew he was going to play. Picks up a couple off the left side near the left boundary, tackled there by Aaron Meyer, the number 2 of Serra, as we're right down to 45 seconds now. They'll spot that ball at the 30 for a 2-yard advance. It'll be 2nd and 8. Make that 2nd and 7 from the 30-yard line.
Yeah, so far so good as far as handling Brown, able to get a couple of defenders out there to make sure he doesn't just roll over one guy. Big year for him, 16 TDs.
Riordan would like to sustain a drive here. Mitchell looking out to his right, and his receiver wasn't available. It's over the head of Sinai Thomas, who was covered there by Labrador. It goes out of bounds with 23 seconds left in the quarter. And Riordan in a familiar down and distance to us, partner. We've seen a lot of 3rd and 7s in our first few minutes here in San Mateo.
Now, Mitchell looked like he had the wide receiver open, but I think there was some pressure coming from the offensive right side. You know, a couple of hands in his face, Scott, forcing him to throw that ball high, and that's a couple of balls that have either sailed on him or maybe that one probably forced by the defense, but I've seen a couple get away so far.
Serra, they'll often put 4 men in the front here. They get 5 in the box, rushing another with extra pressure for Mitchell on 3rd and 7. He evades the first couple, throws off his hip, and nearly completes for a first down. But Perrion Williams, who was crossing over into the middle of the field, and they do not connect. It's incomplete. Goldbeck in coverage. 4th down and 7. 17 seconds left in the quarter, and a Riordan punt is coming up.
Yeah, Mitchell trying to get away there, Scott, looking for some room, but those blue jerseys did a nice job to close it down because it looked like he was ready to run. That all of a sudden wasn't available to him. He was just lucky that we were able to throw that ball away and not have it intercepted.
One big play was a 27-yard pass that got them into Serra territory, albeit briefly, from Mitchell to Thomas. And now Brown, who is back and available, who usually does their punting. He hasn't punted a lot this year, but he's got a good leg. And it is taken in at the 38-yard line by Brody Smith, the senior punt returner, and he brings it out over the 45 to the Serra 46. 6 seconds remaining in our first quarter, and I tell you folks, there's not only not a seat left in the house, there are hundreds, standing room only, here at Brady Family Stadium.
Including us.
Well, we're just so excited. I mean, I've had the kind of week where if I sit down, I may not get back up.
And also, if I sit down, everything's kind of in front of me. I can't see the but the monitor looks beautiful. So I have that. Crystal clear. So far, not so good for the Crusaders. 3 possessions and 3 punts already.
Well, look like we have an announcement coming from Mike Adam. The ball is resting on the 46. Bit of a crew discussion here. All right, here's the announcement from our white hat, Mike Adam, from the Silicon Valley Association.
On the return seat, 10-yard penalty, get on the spot. Be first down, Serra.
Well, Serra doesn't have quite the field position that they've enjoyed throughout the entire quarter. Our officials tonight, by the way, Mike Adam, the referee, umpire Barry O'Driscoll, head linesman Greg Marinack, line judge Kevin Lahane, field judge Michael Suggs, side judges Greg Jones, and the back judges J.C. Avakian. You want a veteran crew tonight, you got it from the SVSOA, and they've kept an eye on things here in our opening quarter. And now we will get a look at William Moore, the freshman at quarterback. He takes the snap and he runs straight through. A juke move there and brings the ball back nearly to the original line. And nicely done there by Orr on his first snap of the game. And you can tell he is pumped. He gets that ball up to the 44-yard line. And Serra will have it 2nd and short when play resumes. We've reached the end of the first quarter here in San Mateo. In this highly anticipated de facto WCAL championship game, it is Serra 7 and Riordan nothing. Back after this. Live action here, folks, as there's a flag that comes in after the play. Henley makes some very positive yardage, and then a second flag from the Riordan sideline. So we may have a sideline warning as well as a foul that occurred during the play. Lots to sort out here on the first snap of the second quarter, partner.
Yeah, Henley able to get out here to the near side and turn that corner briskly, running downhill as he got here to the corner, but let's see how the flags shake out.
Mike Adams asking the Serra sideline.
Illegal participation on the defense.
Legal substitution?
Movement on the field during the play. 15 yards to the previous spot, results in the first down.
It looks like both officials had the same thing.
And it looks like he's making that salute there. But, that's going to go against Riordan. Now, actually, looks like now they're backing up the other way. Now he's going to go forward here. That is going to go against Riordan.
A tough start for the Crusaders.
Really is.
They're only down 7-0. That was the first play of the second quarter, folks. And if you're hearing any feedback as you watch at home, we are working on those technical issues, so we appreciate you bearing with us.
20th annual John Baxter Trophy game between these two teams, and so far it's been Serra with the upper hand. Let's see now if Riordan can keep him out of the end zone on this drive.
William Moore at quarterback. He rushed successfully for his first play from scrimmage right before the end of the first quarter. With the penalty, is now 1st and 10, the 41-yard line of the Crusaders. Or will keep after the fake handoff to Singleton. He's got room in the open field, breaks 1, 2, 3 tackles. The Crusader tries to punch the ball loose. Tia won't let him go. Forward momentum continues all the way down to around the 10-yard line. Unbelievable. What a great effort there by the freshman.
Boy, that was a great fake by Orr. I thought they were going the other way, and I thought Isaiah Grant had himself a great tackle, but he was tackling the guy without the ball. Orr goes the other way and then pushes the pile and drags people for more yards. That was a fantastic fake and a great play for the Padres.
31-yard gain. And there is a serious buzz going on in this stadium, because Serra might just be taking the undefeated Crusaders to the end zone once again. And the give is to Henley around left end. Seen well by Riordan's defense, going to the point of attack and coming down to track it from behind is Tavita Tuifua, with Judge Nash also on the scene from the safety man spot. And Henley lost his helmet, so he'll have to come out for one play. That's a no gain for the Padres offense at 10:40 remaining of our first half. Padres ahead by 7-0. 2nd and goal now coming from the 7-yard line.
Yeah, they pursued that one very well. Tuifua the first one to get on him, but they did have 2 other defenders there just to make sure he wasn't going to get away. This is a big stand right here for Riordan. They don't want to fall down 14-0 here.
Or with Singleton on his right. The handoff goes to Singleton. Has he got his second touchdown of the night? He certainly does. And once again, unfettered on his way to Pater. Padres score again at 10-11 of our first half. Padres leading 13, going on 14-0.
Yeah, Sawape Mafu Hingano, hopefully not butchering that one too much, looked like he had a chance to get it, but they ended up making 2 guys miss on the way to the end zone. And for a moment there, Scott, it looked like Riordan had that one fairly well covered, but just too many good moves, and in for the second touchdown here for the Padres.
We have a lot of football left, friends, but I think folks around the section and around the state are looking at this score right now and saying, oh, really? But the Padres certainly don't feel that way. Here's the extra point for Marks, held by Walsh. Kick is good. And with 10 minutes, 11 seconds to go in quarter number 2, it is now the Serra Padres 14 and the Riordan Crusaders nothing. Taking a look, partners, you've been keeping an eye on this. For folks who are just tuning in, a quick drive summary perhaps of what has happened so far in the football game.
Yeah, 3 punts on one side, 1 punt and 2 touchdowns on the other. You know, and as far as this rivalry is concerned, Serra really had Riordan's number until last year as, you know, kind of the rebirth of Riordan football. They were so much better last year. They were able to get a win over Serra, but before that it had been like 2015 since the Crusaders had beaten the Padres.
As a reminder, this is the John Baxter Memorial Trophy game. There will be a ceremony after the contest, and Riordan are the current holders by virtue of last year's 27-21 victory in honor of the late coach who tutored in football for both the Padres and the Crusaders and passed away of cancer.
Yeah, you got the little brown jug
You got the Axe. You got the Red River rivalry.
Tomorrow we have the big little game.
The big little game. That's right.
Get into that in a moment. Well, Mark's kickoff will be returned, and this is brought out by Judge Nash, and then he is pancaked back at the 15-yard line. Rearen just trying to get something going, and something you've probably caught on to, partners. First of all, Rearen is losing the turnover battle by 0-1 with the interception thrown by Mitchell in the first quarter. Serra didn't score off that drive, but also the field position in this game has been so lopsided.
Yeah, well, just so far, Rearen has just had, one good play, really, from scrimmage. Other than that, everything has been, incomplete passes or runs for not very far. And really, early going still, but so far, dominated by Serra.
Brown in the backfield behind Mitchell as the Crusaders try to get their night going on offense. Brown sweeping around right end and making nice positive yardage on first down. They've been doing well with that first down play as the tackle is made by Tauafo'o, and he certainly felt the brunt of that. It's a 5-yard pickup for Brown, 2nd and 5.
And he did the right thing, Scott. He got down underneath, submarined him that time because the big guy was coming right after him. Don't take him head on, whatever you do.
You read him right. And now Brown will sweep left and pick up another couple. Nice little dive right there. Riordan figuring we need to go on a sustained drive and keep our defense off the field as Goldbeck came up with the hit on the play along with Haimuli. And it is now a first down for Riordan. As the chains have moved, it's first down at the 28-yard line. So good momentum here early on this drive for Riordan, trailing 14-0 with 9 minutes left in the first half. A third consecutive give to Brown, and he has got some momentum forward into Serra territory, dragging a tackler with him and finally brought down from behind by Henley, all the way down near the Padres' 40-yard line. One of the best plays of the night for Riordan.
Oh, big play right there. A lot of room over on that right side. And did you see the way, Scott, he was able to exploit it with speed? We see a big guy and a power guy, and now we're going to go backwards here with the holding call and bring it all back. And I was going to say something about good blocking, but I'll skip it.
Well, if we wonder how that hole opened up. And also the penalties have not favored the Crusaders in the first half. We will bring you halftime stats, of course, and catch you up on all the in-fight particulars. Might even go to Harold Letterman if we have to. Well, Jim, for you fight fans out there. But this puts Riordan
the few of you left.
Indeed. Back on the 25-yard line. So great play by Brown, wiped away, 1st and 13 from the 25. Mitchell pumps once, punts twice, and that does not work out as he is bottled up and takes the sack while still on his feet. A combined effort by Tavita Haimuli and also Lemani Fahoko. And it's all going right for Serra right now. Another loss, another TFL, and 2nd and long coming up.
It looked like Faneka just didn't buy the fake at all. He was right there on Mitchell, and he had nowhere to go with the ball. You're trying to get that initial fake, and they just didn't buy it. And blue shirts all over him before he could really do anything.
New spot is the 21-yard line, so that was a sack for a loss of 4. 2nd and 17 from the Riordan 21. 8 minutes left in the first half. Riordan down by 2 touchdowns. Pitch around the left side, and a big bruising hit by Henley as the pitch was taken by one of Riordan's running backs, Chase Elzy, the second leading rusher on the team. And Elzy took that one right on the shoulder, and he is able to get up none the worse for wear, but picking up a yard on the play to make it 3rd and 16.
Yeah, Henley shot out of a cannon coming up from that secondary spot. He really laid the wood on the ball carrier that time, and just another play going backwards here. Penalty and some great defensive plays here by Serra, and they are just pushing Riordan all the way back.
Mitchell flushed out to his right, looking for the big play. They need one. He tosses this one deep into Serra territory. It's a jump ball and incomplete. Sinai Thomas, between 2 defenders, reached out and couldn't quite get there. But a playground football right there, and it nearly worked out as both Henley and Tauafo'o were in coverage. And Riordan, again, with its ears pinned back, will have to punt once again with 7:22 left in the first half and trailing 14-0.
Yeah, you see Serra play that about as well as you can, Scott. They flushed the quarterback out of the pocket, and when he threw deep down the field, they had a couple of guys right near the intended receiver. Still had a chance to make the catch, but really, Serra couldn't play that any better. Good rush, good coverage on the back end.
Brown set to punt. And Charlie Walsh set to return. Walsh back around his 44-yard line. High snap, nearly blocked, and Brown gets it away. Walsh muffs it. And this could be Riordan football. And this is the break the Crusaders were looking for, and they got it. And Charlie Walsh is beside himself. A punt he simply did not need to have anything to do with. And Riordan recovers on the Serra 48 as the officiating crew goes into discussion.
Yeah, did he give him enough room? I'm not sure he gave him enough room to make that catch.
That is a good point, and that is likely the point of discussion among our referees. And there was no flag thrown as the play happened, and the referees decided to keep it that way. The call stands, as it were, and the first big break of the game for the Crusaders taking over on the plus 48.
Yeah, Owie Angeles made that recovery, but boy, they were right around the ball that time. As soon as it was loose, Scott, they were all over it. You talked about the big play they absolutely needed, and they got it. Now let's see if they can take advantage of it here, starting in Serra's end of the field.
And in the midst of that, the first sideline warning of the night was issued to the Padres. That is not penalized, the first offense, unless, well, I won't get into that. Something else happened, of course, in area high school football regarding that recently, but if you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't worry about it. Rolling right is Mitchell, flagged down. He is on his way out of bounds and makes some positive yardage, but this is almost surely coming back.
Well, so many guys up on this offensive line here for Riordan, but they are really having their trouble here today. Tommy Toffe, the big tackle that we talked about, number one lineman in the state, such an athletic guy and very nimble for his size, but the problem is they just cannot get the blue shirts blocked right now, and we're seeing far too many times, Scott, where Serra is across the line of scrimmage seemingly as soon as the ball is snapped.
Game has gotten chippier. Motion's running high. Here's Mike Adam.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on Riordan. Blindside block. That penalty will be declined. Holding. That penalty will be enforced.
So a blindside block and a hold
Replay first down.
are the 2 calls, and Serra electing to take the one that is more advantageous. And it's tough to fathom. Serra's a very good football team and came into this game expecting to win, but the Crusaders are having trouble getting out of their own way in this first half. 7 minutes remaining and trailing by 14-0. Scott Armstrong, Tony Schultz, our Bay Area Sports TV crew here from Brady Family Stadium and Freitas Field in the game of the year in the West Catholic Athletic League, and so far it's been all Padres. The only thing that's worked for the Crusaders so far is handoffs to Danye Brown, and he takes this one for a moderate gain. About 2nd and 17 coming up.
Yeah, big clog in that middle, able to get a couple of yards, but not much more. But I keep thinking here, Scott, that Mitchell and these guys are going to break one down the field. Mitchell has that really, really good arm. We have seen some receivers get open at least for a moment. You got to figure at some point Riordan's going to hit one of those.
Yeah, 2-yard gain for Brown. 2nd and 18, they call it. He breaks a couple tackles. He'll have a first down this time. Nearly lassoed around the neck, and play continues, and Brown leverages forward all the way to the 30, and that is the biggest play of the night so far for the Crusaders, and most importantly, no flags.
Yeah, going right up the middle, finding plenty of room, and I'm very impressed by Brown's speed. You know, he's not showing a lot of elusiveness as far as juking one way or the other, Scott, but the speed coming out into that secondary, he really has that burst. He's got that second gear, which helps him break away.
That was a 26-yard gain. 1st and 10, Riordan on the Serra 32-yard line, and rushing out of bounds is Mitchell. The new mark was, in fact, the 28, I beg your pardon. He's going to come back, though, as Mitchell loses yardage on this play back to the 33.
Yeah, actually, that time, Scott, the blocking was pretty good. Mitchell did have time initially, but credit the secondary for Serra. Mitchell kind of rolled out there, looking downfield, just had nowhere to go with the football and had to just run out of bounds.
Now some trickeration here and a handoff around the end to Kyle Welch. He gets out into open space. He bounces off a would-be tackler in Taufo'o. And Rirodan beginning to build some confidence offensively with 5.5 minutes remaining in our first half, trailing 14-0. They go from 2nd and 14 to 3rd and 4 at the Serra 23.
Yeah, Welsh made a really nice run there, able to get away from one defender and make a nice positive play.
With a short gain needed, it's a give to Brown, and he's going to get it, falling forward beyond the 20 and down to about the 19-yard line. And this is the sort of drive that we expected Rirodan to sustain when the ball game kicked off, and they're finally looking like their old selves. 1st and 10 from the 18.
And the offensive line is doing some good work. Brown's been getting the ball, and he's had a cutback lane that time, able to exploit that for another positive play.
And so far, Serra has not had an answer for Donye Brown on the ground, and he'll get the carry once again. Note it's a fake handoff and taken by Mitchell around right end, past the 10, the 5, trying to slip toward the pylon, and he'll be marked out at around the 3. As Rirodan is on its way to potentially its first score, a 16-yard scramble for Mitchell, 1st and goal from the 2 as he goes out of bounds.
And he got a nice block from Thomas out there on the far side of the field on the flank. Thomas able to take care of the cornerback and provide just enough room for Mitchell to get around there and make a great play and set them up for what could be their first touchdown of the night.
Whistles prior to action. Had an extra man in to block. That was Israel Vainuku, the tight end and defensive lineman. Timeout on the field with 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Exactly. It is Serra 14 and Rirodan nothing. Well, it seems that Rirodan had some jitters to shake off, and this drive is the best they've looked all night.
Well, that fumbled punt really got him going, and then as soon as they got the football, Brown was able to find some room, Mitchell able to find some room that last time. Maybe the offensive line, Scott, has settled down enough, and finally providing some holes for the runners to go.
It will be interesting to see what kind of first half numbers Brown has racked up on the ground, and by Brown being so effective with the off-tackle runs, we've seen him go through the line of scrimmage a couple of times, but generally it's getting that seal from the A-gap and really providing him with a place to run and get forward momentum down the field. Again, a very fast runner as well.
If they can just get a little bit of push, he's got the speed to really break it open, get that sort of downhill running going, and he'll get you some good yardage. You just give him a little bit of room.
All right, 1st and goal from the 2. Mitchell to Brown and into the end zone for the Crusaders score. And Rirodan is back in the contest.
Yeah, right up the middle goes Brown. And you see some of those guys getting that push up front, and they just made that look actually pretty easy. 48 yards there after the muff punt. They take advantage, and they have a chance here to cut the lead in half.
And the offensive guard, Lopeti Malupo, celebrating as you saw there. And it will be Connor Wallace for the point after with 4:55 remaining in our first half. And he sneaks that through. And as they say back across the pond, we've got a game now. It's now Serra 14 and Rirodan 7 with 4:55 remaining in the first half. And that was all it took, as you said, Tony. Unfortunate miscue by Charlie Walsh, if you're a Serra fan, and providing the opening of the door for Rirodan to get the field position they had not had all night.
Yeah, we could be looking back at this particular play and say that was the turning point of the game. Still a long way to go, but obviously that's lit a fire under Rirodan, and they were able to take it the distance for the 48 yards and make it look rather easy there, Scott. Kind of the way Serra has been moving the ball against them.
Talked about some other games happening around the Bay Area of import last night. In a game many here in attendance tonight were likely attending. Half Moon Bay blew out Terra Nova 59-28. Sobrato is at Willow Glen tonight, another game to watch and has CCS ramifications. And over in Oakland, where all of us we're having to work our way through to get to San Mateo, Oakland High is taking on 7th-ranked McClymans tonight in the big OAL battle. Those are always fun. And the Bruce Mahoney game tonight up there at Kezar Stadium between St. Ignatius and 19th-ranked Sacred Heart Cathedral. A short kickoff, and it is taken and then duly ducking out of bounds after catching it is Drew Takapatolo. who has been a big factor as well offensively for the Padres this year. And so Serra starts with, ironically, some of its quote-unquote worst field position of the evening. At 4:54 remaining in the first half and ahead 14-7, they took over on the Padres' own 34-yard line.
Now let's see how the defense responds here for Riordan after being pushed around here so far through this first half, but following that muffed punt and fumble recovery for Riordan and the touchdown. Let's see if that pumps up the defense here a little bit, Scott.
Certainly seems like everyone's into the flow of the game now, or at quarterback. He will play act and step back to pass. Screen pass is caught by Singleton down the left-hand side and slips him in. He may have first down yardage there, as getting him around the ankles is a very active Skylar Tiatia, who has been in on a lot of these plays so far for the Riordan defense. But it will move the chains and give, well, I beg your pardon, he stepped out just before that. Spoke too soon. An 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2 coming up from the 42 of the Padres. A good tackle there by Tiatia to prevent the first down.
Able to get that swing pass out there on the far side, get a little bit of room. Just did step out of bounds a little bit earlier. That would have been a much bigger play.
Clock showing 4:47 left in our first half. And coming in motion from right to left is the tight end Jace Cannon. And the handoff goes to the first man through at Singleton. And there's the first down for Serra.
And that time they were able to get the necessary yardage to move the chains, but on a couple of those plays earlier in the game, they were able to kind of get that almost looking like a tush push, Scott, able to get everything going forward. This time, at least, the Crusaders able to stop it for a much shorter gain, but the chains do move regardless.
With the ball resting across the 45-yard line, the official mark is the 46 for 1st and 10 for the Padres. 4 minutes, 15 seconds left in the first half. Glad you're with us here on a Friday night for the big game of the year in the West Catholic League. Play action for William Orr. He throws over the middle. It's caught by Charlie Walsh. And Walsh breaking a few tackles inside the 15. And down to around the 15-yard line. And that'll bring some of his confidence back after the muff punt. He's looking over at the sideline saying, no, I want to stay in. And the Padres are in the red zone.
Yeah, a little play action. Didn't look like Riordan bought the play action too much, but they were caught in that zone defense, and they ended up with a receiver wide open in the middle of the field and able to hit him in stride for the big gain. Not only did he get to the completion, but because the throw is so perfect, Scott, he's able to run, get with some of those rack yards with a run after catch.
They mark him at the 17, so this is a 37-yard gain for Chewbacca, as many of you have come to know him. And it's 1st and 10 for the Padres, up by a touchdown as we hit the 3.5-minute mark of our first half. Winner of this game is the WCAL champion. Or on the hard, long count, fake handoff, rolling right, and he spikes that. And he did have his tight end Cannon in the vicinity, so no foul. 2nd and 10 from the 17.
Yeah, but they didn't buy that fake that time. They bought it earlier and got burned on that, but right there in on the quarterback, and he just has to throw it away, does the smart thing, because he was going to get buried.
Jace Cannon, a big part of this offense, the 6'4 senior. Sam McReynolds, also a tight end we'll see a lot of throughout the night. Under center went Taufo, in that double wing that they like to run, but the officials saw something wrong with that, and we have a flag down.
Henley thought he was going to have some rooms on the far side, or on the near side, rather. Let's see, too many men on the field. Now they're counting them again.
It has been a carefully litigated game, I will say that. And you like it that way between two great teams.
Illegal substitution on the defense.
Second time that illegal substitution has been flagged against the Crusaders defensively. They're either not getting that 12th player off or he's participating in the huddle. Something's going on, so another break for the Padres, and that will bring the ball 5 yards forward for 2nd down and 5 from the plus 12-yard line.
3:20 remaining in the half.
So a really good response here by the Serra offense following the Riordan touchdown. Looked like they're going to get that one right back here.
A receiver to each side. Walsh goes in motion and then comes into the backfield. Fake to him. or steps out of pressure once, but he won't twice, and it's a tackle for loss. That is a great sack, and one Riordan's defense was looking for. Nicely done there by Sione Fanaika, the 6-foot-tall senior, coming up and understanding that the handoff was not going to Walsh on the play, and we're back to 3rd and 7. Make that 3rd and 8 from the 15.
Yeah, Tonalou came in. He thought he was going to have himself a sack. Quarterback made that move and got right around him. But even so, disrupted the play anyway. The timing just gets completely thrown off. And it's a good play for the Riordan defense.
And a big play coming up here for the Riordan defense here with 2:40 remaining in the half. Crusaders trailing the Padres by 14-7. Moore calls for the snap. Pressure comes. Dish off to Singleton. Leaps past one man. Tia won't let him out, though, and it's a short gain, and it will leave Darius Bell, the offensive coordinator of the Padres, with a decision, as they certainly have one of the most reliable field goal kickers in the state in Saul Marks. A timeout is taken with 2:18 remaining, and it's Riordan's defense that wants to discuss.
Yeah, they showed that screen pass right there, and a lot of the guys for the defense, they're letting them come free, and that's one clue is if they're letting you go, it's because it's for a reason. They had the screen pass set up, but on the back end, it looked like Riordan handled it pretty well, because initially it looked like a very well set up screenplay.
And part of this timeout is not just to get organized on a crucial play, but also perhaps Serra has a fake up its sleeve. You have full trust in Saul Marks to drill this field goal. Be a 30, 31-yard attempt if they try it. 4th and 6 from the 13-yard line. 2 minutes, 18 seconds left in the half.
And it looks like they are going to kick the field goal. They're going to spot this one at the 20. So 30 yards. I mean, God, when he kicks off, he almost puts it above the crossbar.
Isaac Josephson is the long snapper. Charlie Walsh is the holder. This comes from the right hash mark for a 30-yard even try for Saul Marks. And that one is nearly back to where I parked. It is good. 2 minutes, 13 seconds left first half. And Serra now leads by 17-7. If you're joining us late, it was a very slow start for Coach Ravapati and the Crusaders. They've had the better of the play here in the last few minutes, going on their first touchdown drive of the night after Charlie Walsh muffed a punt around midfield that gave the Crusaders their first advantageous field position of the ballgame.
Yeah, and kind of good for both teams here on that last drive. They got the field goal. They had a nice drive, following the Riordan touchdown. Good response for the Serra offense, but good job by the Riordan defense to get the stop and hold it to a field goal, because they've really struggled here defensively tonight.
And we move directly to the 1st and 10 from the 20 scenario. And Mitchell takes the snap. Riordan trying to get something going in the 2-minute offense. Mitchell with Brown as a lead blocker, and then he finally tumbles down by choice on the slide with a first down carry. As pursuing there was Tavita Haimuli. It is a 9-yard gain, so he did start his slide a tiny bit early. I beg your pardon. It is 2nd and very short, what the late John Vlahos of Cal announcing would call 2nd and a short one. Mitchell bobbles the snap. It's not a handoff to Brown. Instead, it's a pass out right on a comeback route, and broken up and incomplete. Heck of a play there by Aiden Labrador as they were trying to connect with Sinai Thomas for the first down, incomplete with 1:39 left, and now it's 3rd and 1.
Boy, Labrador had an interception earlier to put it into a Riordan drive. He looked like he had a pick six there. Of course, he was going to the ground, but boy, the way he came across the face of the receiver, I thought he had that one all the way. Excellent play to knock it down, but very fortunate for Riordan, Scott, that he didn't intercept that one.
And a marker down, in any case, a hold against Riordan. And indeed, if you're a Crusader fan on that far sideline, you're shaking your head and saying, we just cannot help ourselves in this half. You go from 3rd and very makeable, when you know a first down will stop the clock with one timeout in your pocket, to now back to 2nd and 11. Now, all's not lost here on this drive for the Crusaders, but if they have not enjoyed good field position at the outset of the drive, partner, they have not gotten anything going.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. You talk about how good this offensive line has been and their ability to get to that second level and get on those linebackers. Just haven't seen that enough here today, and they've been called for holding a couple of times as well.
Here's Brown running in open space, and he's got a chance to breast one here down to the 30 and nudged out of bounds finally by Henley. And another marker down. By the way, I'd like to make a correction as Brown goes down injured. It's still 14-7. The reason the ball was out at the 20-yard line is the field goal was missed by Saul Marks. So I beg your pardon, folks.
I missed the mist. I thought he made it, and this does not look good. Brown on the ground, and they're going to have to attend to him. Take a look at the.
Yeah, and Brown, most importantly, slow to get up. And he's all the way over on the Serra sideline, but he has now been able to.
Looked like a non-contact injury. He got to the sideline, he looked okay, and then all of a sudden he kind of pulled up lame like he pulled something. And we just hope, Scott, that it's a cramp and the trainer can work it out real quick and get him back in there. But we can only hope that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, so the Rirodan trainers have made their way over. It is still a 14-7 ball game, so again, apologies, folks. Saul Marks, who rarely misses, I took that for granted, being cute about the way I called the field goal instead of just looking for the referees, and that's what I get. So that is why Rirodan had the ball out at the 20.
On the previous play, holding on the offense.
And it's going to be holding against Rirodan. The question is, how far downfield was it? Still going to be first down, but are they going to actually pick up any yards here? But again, another holding call, Scott. And as far as the Crusaders are concerned, they've seen way too many of those in the first half.
And I'm having a look at the Rirodan coaching staff through the binoculars here. And they're either going to chat to their lads at halftime and say, we just got to clean that up, or maybe they feel that the holding has been called a little too tightly. As you look at it from both sides of the argument, but the calls are going to be what they're going to be. And Brown continuing to be worked on down by the Serra 20-yard line on the opposite side of the field. So, of course, we wish him the very best, thinking of him and his family, and hopefully he can resume in this ball game. He's been so vital to Riordan's attack. Coming back from injury, and you have thoughts of that as well.
He's provided so much of that balance with that great passing game and the wonderful wide receivers. But the holding calls are coming too frequently here for Riordan. And, most of the time, Scott, when you hold because you're beaten. But sometimes on those plays going downfield, don't reach out and hold because your back has already got a positive gain. Trust your back to be able to get away from or run over that defender in the case of Brown. Don't reach out and hold when you've got a positive play going. It looks like that's what they did on that last play.
There is a timeout on the field with 1:29 remaining in the first half while Brown continues to receive attention. It is felt by the officiating crew that it would not be the right thing to do to continue action while there is a fallen player on the opponent's sideline.
Football fans, I'm not telling you what the injury is, I don't know, but a silent prayer from everybody if you could for Adonai Brown.
Public address announcer here at Brady Family Stadium urging the crowd to keep the Riordan running back in their thoughts. While we have a moment, we'll take a look around Northern California and
taking a look at Riordan's log this year, Scott. They've been putting some pretty serious whippings on a lot of people. You look at some of those great numbers and you see them reflected here. They did have that one close game at Pittsburgh out in Contra Costa County, 42-35 in Pittsburgh. They have been actually an absolutely dynamic team these last several seasons. But a lot of these other scores, Scott, 54-0, 56-30, 49-10. I mean, you talked about Riordan not being used to being behind. For the most part of this season, Scott, a lot of those games, I think the competitive phase of those games over quite early.
Yeah, and when you're used to playing games like that and suddenly you're in a scenario where you're behind by 2 touchdowns on the road in a game with so much hype attached to it, it can be easy to maybe be knocked for a loop, but they seem to.
Yeah, it comes down to how do you respond to adversity, and being down when you're not used to it can be a tough situation, and that shows that adversity. And Riordan will just have to play some better football here the rest of the way. Here's some applause there. I think maybe Brown able to get up, and they are going to help him off the field. Looks like he's walking off under his own power here, Scott. He does have the helmet off. So it looks like he's going to be out for a while. We just hope that he will return.
Play resumes. It'll be a first down for the Crusaders. Get back if you can, Adanya. You're a hell of a player.
Pausing the action, and now it's up to the 2 teams and their coaching staffs to try to get their minds back on the game, such is the nature of football. Mitchell on the direct snap, design keeper. He'll have a first down and more, and he may go this time. 40, 35, 30. Henley chasing him to the boundary. Henley pushing him out around the 10. And Riordan is in great shape to tie this ball game before the half, as that ends up being a 60-yard run for Michael Mitchell Jr.
Yeah, what a great play there. Talk about bursting into the secondary and just kind of outrunning the defenders. And we talked about something that he has improved on over his time here as a 4-year starter. He's gotten more mobile as he's gotten older. You just saw it right there. What a great run, a huge play for the Crusaders.
It'll be first and 10.
1:16 left in the half. Crusaders trailing 14-7, but on the brink of tying it up. And the give around the right side to Sione Vaihola, and nothing there as Henley comes up to make the stop. Now a minute to go.
Well, that left side of that defensive line really got a good job there working against that right side, that big right side of the Rearen offensive line. They just overwhelmed them that time. There was no room to go, and a couple of blue shirts getting across the line to make the play for a loss of yardage.
2nd and 11 from the 12, so they can get a first down without scoring. To Vaihola once again, who's got to be in there because of Brown's injury, and he dives forward to the 5-yard line. Ball is set down with 35 seconds remaining. 3rd down coming up, 3rd and 4 from the 5. Riordan has 1 timeout left to use, and they're going to have to use it. With 28 seconds left, the clock is frozen. And for Coach Ravapati and the Crusaders, you've got 2 plays to enter the halftime locker room on level terms after the first half had started out so poorly for them.
Yeah, so far that last run by Mitchell, and of course the muff punt by Serra, setting these guys up, setting Riordan up here. And other than that, Scott, they look like they've been fairly dominated here in this first half, and we kind of look up and now they're just a few yards away from tying this thing up. Of course, a couple of special teams plays, that muff punt on the one side, and then the missed field goal that both you and I thought was good. It looked like Serra had taken a 17-7 lead, get the miss, and now the Crusaders trying to finish off what would be an 80-yard touchdown drive to potentially tie this game.
Play resumes. It's 3rd down.
Crowd rising its decibel level a little bit, although it's more sort of hushed anticipation. And again, the injury to Danye Brown is certainly on everyone's minds, and now a timeout is taken by the Padres. Again, 28 seconds left in the half, 14-7. Salmark's field goal at the other end was missed, which everyone except me noticed.
I'm right there with you, partner. I was putting down, yeah, he scored 17-7, and then I was like, Hey, how come they're getting the ball? Aren't they going to kick off? Did they change the rule on me here?
Pat O'Rourke and Stephen Shea would never have done that. So just I believe they've got job security. So we're in good shape.
But you talk about dealing with adversity, Scott. And we've seen the way Riordan has kind of been pushed around here today, and yet just a couple more yards here, they could tie the game. That's a pretty good job dealing with the adversity they had here today. Like you said, you know, down in a very crucial game on the road. And it looks like they have a chance to tie it up here. Still got 28 seconds to go here in the half.
It is very much looking like the game we thought we were going to see. And Riordan's got 2 plays to punch it in. Padres 1 timeout left. Crusaders with none. 28 seconds on the clock. Brown is back in the game. Have a look at that. And he's going to get the carry from Mitchell, and he's brought down at the 5-yard line. Remember, Riordan can't stop the clock, so this is going to be their final snap of the drive. And they'll likely take it with just a few seconds remaining while they get to the line.
Yeah, you can't spike it. You got to throw it here.
9, 8, 7. Mitchell going for it, diving forward. He doesn't get there. Serra turns it over on downs with 2.7 seconds left in the half. And Coach Ravapati is all the way down at the goal line to discuss this call. You see that the officials are trying to get him back onto the sideline. Serra holds. Riordan claiming that he had made the first down, but I don't think the argument can be made that the touchdown was scored.
No, not even close there.
And even if he makes the first down, well, I suppose the argument is that if he makes the first down, we have time to get up and spike the football. Now, whether that would really have happened, that is speculation.
But they
the
would
ball
get
is on the 2-yard line.
They would have gotten the clock stoppage with the first down. But then they'd have to go very, very quickly. But the officials looking at it, they said he's short. And now Serra's taking timeout.
Well, that's their last of the half. So to recap, after Brown was held up at the 5-yard line for no gain, Mitchell then faked the handoff to Brown on 4th down and 4 from the 5. He got to the 2 and needed to get inside the 2 to create a 1st and goal and a stoppage of the clock while the chains were moved or dropped, as the case would be this close to the goal line. But Riordan's argument is that by the officials not marking that he made the line to gain, that they did not have a chance to run at least one more offensive play. And so Serra's concern here right now, Tony, is on the 2-yard line, they've got to try to get out of this last snap of the half without giving up a safety.
You don't want to kneel on the ball here, but you don't want to kneel on the goal line.
And the knee is taken just outside the plane of the goal line, and the first half is over. And we had a little bit of everything, didn't we? And the Serra Padres lead the Riordan Crusaders in the WCAL championship game by 14-7. And we'll be back with second half coverage shortly. You're watching Bay Area Sports TV.
let's hear it for the Crusaders.
Nice to have you with us tonight from Freitas Field at Brady Family Stadium as we resume action here in one of the most anticipated games of the year. Scott Armstrong with Tony Schultz coming to you from San Mateo. And we begin the third quarter with Serra ahead of Rirodan 14-7. Close call at the end of the first half for the Crusaders, who wanted to punch it in for the game's tying score. Here's Wallace with the kickoff, and it is taken around the 20-yard line. Not a long kick, but they wanted to put that in play. And it was taken by Drew Takapatolo, and he's tackled around where he caught it, so it'll be first and 10 for around the 25-yard line.
Yeah, another one of those turning points of the game. You said in that last drive, a 78-yard drive instead of an 80-yard drive could have tied the game. Unable to do it, but as far as for Rirodan, the 4 punts in that first half, their offense was pretty much stymied. Even though Mitchell and Brown put up decent numbers, could never really get the passing game going though, Scott.
We'll have a look at those numbers as we move on in the third quarter, kindly given to us by the Serra game day staff. Got a full statistical rundown for you as William Moore Jr., the freshman, takes the first snap of the second half and hands off to Isaiah Singleton. And Singleton, on his 10th carry of the night, gets a yard, maybe 2. That is the 10th carry of the night for Singleton. He had 37 yards in the first half as Serra amassed 110 on the ground and 49 through the air for 159 total. Rirodan 180 on the ground, most of that through Donnie Brown, who returned to the game after an injury. 59 yards passing. So other than a couple of big chunk passes, Tony, this has been mostly a game that's been won or lost on the ground.
Yeah, they had a couple of those short yardage touchdowns from Singleton in that first half, but Rirodan actually kind of responded pretty well after getting pushed around early, played a lot better later in the half.
2-yard gain, 2nd and 8 from the 27. Orr is flushed. He's looking out to his right, and he'll throw this one away as he was able to get out of the pocket, so no penalty. The nearest receiver would have been Mateo Gamblin, the 6'3", 180 senior, and that leaves Serra 3rd and 8 from its own 27.
Yeah, some good pursuit by Rirodan coming out of the half, able to force the quarterback here to the near side, and everybody covered up pretty well and just kind of threw the ball in between 2 potential receivers and just kind of threw it away.
Orr was 3 of 4 in the first half passing, 47 yards, 37 of them on a connection to Walsh. Caleb Bandel, 1 of 2. For 2 yards. So Walsh and Singleton were the only pass catchers for the Padres in the first half. A game that was all Padres in the beginning, but Rirodan has come back to make it a ball game. Orr is whacked as he throws this one incomplete and nearly intercepted. And he took a real tough hit as he let that one go. Judge Nash almost coming up with the pick, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, good pass rush coming from the blind side that time, able to get him right as he was throwing the ball. And very fortunate for Serra that ball wasn't intercepted. And really, looking at that first half, Scott, a couple of miscues on the special teams by Serra really helping to keep Rirodan in the game.
Yeah, Charlie Walsh's muff punt accounting for their turnover. And the interception thrown by Mitchell, only his 4th of the year, picked off in the first quarter by Aiden Labrador. So it's 1-1 on the turnover battle. Here's Saul Marks, who's going to fake the punt. He's going to take off with the football. Will he make it? No, he will not. And Rirodan has just been given a short field with a chance to tie the football game here early in the third quarter after they were barely kept out of the end zone at the end of the first half.
Yeah, make that 3 special teams miscues. A couple times going to set them up in good field position for the second time today. Here he held the ball quite a bit on one of his punts earlier in the game and was able to successfully pin Rirodan deep. Now he tries to run for it, and he just doesn't have nearly enough room as the pursuit finally gets there. Big play by the special teams for Rirodan.
Well, that may have turned the game on its head. It's now 1st and 10, Rirodan from the Serra 28, so effectively a turnover on downs on the rushing play by Saul Marks. And here's Adonye Brown, and he's got open sailing. Flag is down, though. He's pushed out around the 4-yard line, but it may well be coming back We certainly saw plenty of hankies in the first half, Riordan pleading their case, but that long run by Brown's going to be wiped out.
And let's see where this is going to occur. It looks like it's going to occur downfield.
Well, maybe they will give him the first down, although based on the fact that Riordan is walking backward, it's going to come all the way back. This was a major problem in the first half for the Crusaders, hold after hold.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, Scott. You know, sometimes when you got a good back like that, trust that he's going to get away from these guys. Make the best block you can. If you really are not able to make a good block, don't just reach out and grab. Trust that your running back can either make a move or pile over somebody and still make a good play, because a lot of times you have a positive play, you reach out and hold and you wipe it all out.
Scott Armstrong, Tony Schultz, our Bay Area Sports TV crew, thank you for bearing with us in that first half through some technical difficulties, and an announcer in the classic style of NBC's Bill Stern from the 30s and 40s who can't tell whether a field goal is missed or made. Well, we wipe the egg off our faces and move on. Only viewers who are tuned in for the first half will understand that, but you students of broadcasting history will know that Bill Stern was known for making calls up when he would get them wrong at the Rose Bowl, big college football games, horse races, etc. But you can't lateral a horse.
Hey, you're trying to tell a good story, Scott, right?
Come on. Never let the facts get in the way of the story. Well, the story, unfortunately, for Riordan has been that penalties have held them back, whereas, as you said, Tony, the special teams have been the issue for the Padres. And now we have scrimmage play from the 19-yard line. Pitch goes to Brown, and he falls down. The turf monster got him. That's a tough way to go. And again, if you're joining us late, Brown peeled off a big run in the first half that was called back because of a holding penalty, and he ended up getting cramp and returning several plays later, which opened the door for Sione Vaihola to take a carry. And in the first half, Brown carried 10 times for 70 yards. Mitchell, 8 carries, 89 yards net out of the Riordan backfield when he would do the design keeper. And so the ball now spotted back on the 23-yard line after that loss, 2nd and 5. We are 2 minutes gone by in our third quarter with Serra ahead by a touchdown. They give us to Brown. Big hole for him. And he has got 1st and goal and more. He shakes another tackle, and he's all the way into the end zone. Great individual effort, and Riordan is an extra point away from tying it up. And the fans who have made their way down from San Francisco are loving that. It is 14-13, Serra.
And what set this all up? Another miscue with the special teams, the fake punt that goes awry. Brown on a 22-yard scamper there. A couple of really nice cuts by the big man right there, showing some of that elusiveness, and again, showing that good speed in the end zone again. And if you had said this after the first couple of drives that we'd be tied at this point, Scott, I'd say you were lying. But all of a sudden, a couple of miscues, Crusaders able to take advantage, and just a PAT away from tying it up.
Officials discussing something related to the point after touchdown. If you're a Riordan fan, you're still thinking about what happened at the end of the first half when the officials marked Mitchell short, and there would have been only a few seconds left in the first half had he made a first down inside the 2-yard line, but they might have had time to spike the football and get another play. Whatever flag was thrown or dropped has been picked up by the officiating crew, so the Riordan touchdown will stand, and it is 14-13 with 9:37 to go in the third quarter. And here is Connor Wallace for the point after that would tie the game.
He has been perfect this year. Great, set the record here for PATs and knocks this one through.
And it is good, and believe me, I'm taking a look at those two officials to make sure it's good. If I do nothing else tonight, Tony, otherwise I'm going to hand you the play-by-play. The way this is going. Well, it is 14-14. It's not about us. It's about these young men putting it all on the line in this WCAL championship game. And we remind our viewers, we said this as we came on air, you might be wondering, will there be overtime if we have a tie at the end of 4 quarters? The answer is no. So it is possible for the season to end with 2 WCAL co-champions. So keep that in the back of your mind as you follow along here in the second half.
Even though we're tied 14-14, and you'd expected a good game with this matchup, Scott, but it hasn't really turned out the way, the points haven't been scored in the way I really thought they would, especially on the Riordan side. Even though they've got the 2 rushing touchdowns, they did so well with the passing game this year and those 4 great wide receivers in the year that Mitchell had. just still have not been able to get that passing game going. You'd have to figure at some point they will get the air attack going here tonight.
Well, Brown is on his way to a 1,000-yard season. He came into the game with 836 for the year on 103 carries. That was touchdown number 17 of the year. He's got several offers, and of course we have players who have been offered or confirmed, committed all over the field tonight.
Absolutely.
Squib kick here to Jace Cannon, the Serra tight end, who Coach Walsh describes as their George Kittle, and he's able to scoot his way up toward the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 Padres.
Now let's see how the Padres respond. Go got that punt situation last time. Go for the fake deep in their own territory. Come way up short from getting it, and then Riordan responds, taking it the distance. That's a 28-yard drive culminating in a Brown second touchdown of the game. So let's see how they respond after some adversity of their own.
And after Caleb Bandel had the reins early, it's been all William Orr Jr., who missed some practice time this week, but is ready to go and has performed well. He's going to fake the handoff to Henley and then take it himself through the left side gap and pick up about 7. And in on the hit was Soape Mafuenago for the Riordan Crusaders. An 8-yard gain for Orr, 2nd and 2.
Boy, that was a painful 8 yards. Henley able to go out to that far side and pick up a good play, but Swape came right up and it looked like some of that head-to-head contact. You hate to see that. It's a violent collision to finish off that 8-yard run.
Mafuengano, the freshman defensive tackle playing in this enormous game for a very good defense on an undefeated team. We're under 9 minutes to go, third quarter, tied at 14. Game began with Serra scoring the first 14 points. Riordan has now responded on the Brown touchdown to open affairs on their account. And another big rush in there by Riordan for a tackle for loss. This time it's Pita Taneelu, the freshman up front. So the 9th graders getting it done here for the Riordan front 4. And Serra now left with 3rd down and about 3 to go at the 46.
Yeah, very stout defensively on that line. Some of the linebackers coming up to help as well to set up this 3rd down.
They go into the double wing, and the snap is taken by Tanafo'u, and they're going to be short once again. So this is the Riordan defense that we expected to see early in the ball game, as Charlie Walsh couldn't break through there, and he loses yardage back to the 44. And that is some of the best run defense we have seen all night from the Crusaders.
Yeah, you saw that everybody tight to the formation on that wing, and they're trying to come out here to the near side, nothing doing. The white shirts pursuing very well, but you're looking for that cutback lane, and that time, Scott, just not able to find it. They're going to go for it.
They've got the snap, which means they're going to get a first down out of this because the 12th man was not off the field by the time the snap was taken. Coach Ravapati pleading his case, as he has done all night on the far sideline. As Sione Fanaika, you can see in the center of your screen, no, I beg your pardon, the number 25. That would be Frank Enix, the junior defensive end. At first, he's starting to leave, and then he realizes he should stay. Then Fanaika tries to head off along with Zachary Kleppen. So disorganized 4th down play for Riordan there, and Hankey's on the field. Riordan is pleading, though, that it should have been false start against Serra.
Yeah, they're going to plead their case here, but they looked very, very confused. Guys coming in, guys going out, and as you said, a couple guys didn't know whether they were supposed to be in or not.
Here's our lead official, Mike Adam, with the announcement.
Timeout. Riordan.
Boy, that is a gift. That is a big, big break right there for Riordan. Instead of giving up that first down on the penalty, they just burn a timeout. They're going to get possession back following a punt.
There have been all sorts of nuances and twists and turns in this ball game so far, partner.
Wow.
And some close calls for the officials. And if you're the official on that side with Coach Ravapati and his staff begging for a timeout to bail out the 4th down play, and you give it, especially on the road, that shows some gumption by an official
really
to
does.
say that the timeout happened first. And this is something that a lot of people around sports, I know you understand this, may not realize, is that it's not when an official blows the whistle, it's when they believe the act occurred of a timeout being requested and granted. And that the whistle might have come later or what have you is irrelevant. So
they see the infraction, then they blow the whistle.
Right. They're reacting to what they have seen, and there's something called lag time in that decision making. So in any case, we are back at 4th and 5 from the 44, 7:38 remaining in the third quarter.
They're going to go.
in this tie ball game, and Serra had the look of they're going to snap the football, and now they're going to spend the timeout. Well, this is almost like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, as we might see on Sunday down in Levi's Stadium, staring each other down and taking the Polaroid timeout, sir.
Boy, that was just an interesting play there. Timeout following a timeout, but Riordan's got to breathe a sigh of relief because at least they're going to get the ball back. But, yeah, a little discombobulated on that. That would have been the third time, I believe, Scott, that they would have been called for too many men on the field. And I'm going to make that old-fashioned salute, right, with the fist to the chest.
And the other thing is some chicanery might be coming into play here because you're trying to not only fool the other team, you may also occasionally
fool yourself.
With all due respect, also fool the officials. Because in terms of these substitutions, as you know now, the new rule, which has trickled down from pro to college to high school, if one team subs, the umpire has to stand in there and wait for the other team to be allowed to sub. There has to be some equity there. So that, I think, was a bit of the wrestling match we saw between the two teams on that fourth down play. But they're going to snap it from behind center or play action. Pass over the middle, incomplete. There was contact. Cannon was the intended receiver. No flag. In coverage there was Isaiah Grant of the Crusaders. And once again, Riordan, one of the best teams in the state, the number 1 ranked team in the section, is handed excellent field position as a result of their defense turning it over on downs.
Yeah, when they're getting this good field position, they're turning these into touchdowns, and Serra just did it again. And you think they might be a little gun-shy after the fake punt the last time, but no, going forward on that fourth down situation, coming up short. Good coverage down the field, and Riordan gets a chance now to take the lead.
It has been a wild one so far with 7:32 to go. Third quarter, Serra 14, Riordan 14, and Michael Mitchell Jr., who had a slow start to this one, back to work, and he'll give it to Brown. And Brown almost was able to start bouncing to the outside, but absolutely nothing doing is coming up to make the hit, and the tackle for loss was the 6', 285 senior Peyton Thomas.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was a whole lot of room for Brown to maneuver that time, but Peyton Thomas was making sure he didn't get any. He's able to get across the line of scrimmage and get the big back down. And it's another tackle for loss for Serra. They've had several of those tonight. They can look, try to go up the middle, and then Thomas, he really did a good job disengaging from the block, getting off that block and making the tackle.
Loss of 1 for Brown, 2nd and 11 from the Serra 45. Brown will get the carry once again. You have a feeling they're going to be leaning on him for the rest of the night if he can go. And he's grabbed around the leg by Lemani Fehoko and tackled around the 40-yard line. Pick up a 6. It'll be 3rd down and 5 coming up.
Fehoko looks like he's got himself a cramp right there. He is definitely hobbling. Now we're going to have an injury timeout.
Checking into some scores from around the area. The Bruce Mahoney game is in the books up there at Kezar Stadium with the St. Ignatius Wildcats facing the Sacred Heart Cathedral Fighting Irish, and SI prevails 23-14 over the 19th ranked Irish, and a 2-0 lead for the Wildcats in that trophy series. Here tonight we are playing the John Baxter Memorial Trophy game for the 20th consecutive year to honor the memory of the late John Baxter, who coached both of these programs at Serra and at Riordan. So the game being played in his memory, and we'll have a ceremony after the game.
Yeah, 20th anniversary of that, and getting a really good game right now as some pivotal plays on both sides, creating the situation that we have, a tie game with Riordan a chance to take the lead.
When we talked to Coach Walsh before the game this week, he had described the Riordan offense as dynamic and scary, and they run something akin to what Art Briles used to run at Baylor. It is this spread offense all day long, but ironically, they have, even though they've got 4 terrific wide receivers, it has been Adonai Brown carrying the load for them throughout the night.
And it's been those short fields that have really set the Crusaders up with that. It has not really been, the dynamic offense that we thought we'd see. And you got to credit Serra for kind of shutting down that passing game. And lately, the Crusaders kind of going away from that, and they are leaning on Brown a whole lot more. Well,
they might have figured out that Serra has done such a good job of shutting down the pass and the early going, and said, okay, fine. By running the football constantly, we're going to finally get the fake ball or the deep ball that we know is going to be the money play for us.
I'm still waiting for it, Scott. I'm still waiting for them to break open that passing game and get somebody down the field with a long bomb.
And other than the long reception from Mitchell to Sinai Thomas in the first quarter, we have not had much of that. And a very unfortunate sight for the Serra Padres as Malachi Taofo'o, who was so important to them on both sides of the ball, is being helped off by the training staff. And by the looks of that, he is unlikely to return. And that would be a major personnel hit for the Padres if he can't come back. We're going to call this a 3rd and 6 from the 40 of the Padres. Riordan needs to get to the Serra 34 to continue the drive. 6:30 and counting remaining in the third in a tie game. Mitchell takes off, and he is going to make the first down and then step out after picking up some additional. The nearest player to him was Serra's Matthew Malo, shepherding him out of bounds after Dylan Modena, the linebacker, penetrated but was not able to get close to him.
Yeah, that was all speed there by Mitchell. Nothing going on, and really wasn't looking downfield all that much. He saw an opening on that right side and just took off running. They probably would have went for it on 4th down anyway, but able to pick up, turn 3rd down into 1st down and keep the drive going.
Stopping the clock with 6:22 to go, third, 14-14 game. Mitchell calling signals. He's got the wide side to the left. He's going to look that way first, and he's thrown to the end zone. And here we go. It is incomplete. Here comes the flag, and it'll be pass interference against the Padres as they were going for that money ball to Perion Williams. And a new set of downs coming up for Riordan.
Perion looked like he was open momentarily.
Defense, 15-yard penalty, results in a first down.
As we said, using the run to set up the pass, and that will bring the ball forward to the 17-yard line.
We talked about a big pass play. Well, they got it. Didn't actually complete it, but they got the penalty out of it. So get some 15 yards here and a fresh set of downs.
Penalty marks off against the Padres. It's first down.
There we are. The spot on the 17.
And leaning on the run here a little bit, Scott, but not completely giving up on the pass, and it pays off right there with the freebie. Clear contact downfield in the end zone. Obvious penalty against Serra.
Game now playing right now very much more at Riordan's tempo, whereas in the first half, Serra was controlling more of that. Fake handoff to Brown. Mitchell tripped up, actually tripped over one of his own linemen, and he tripped over Michael Lange, the center, as he pulled out to the right on that design. Short gain, 2nd and 9, 16-yard line, 6 minutes left, third quarter, tie game.
Yeah, Langley got a piece of his own man here, trying to cut it to the inside. And you can see the defender just stand Langley up right there and then tripped over his foot as he was trying to cut it back to the inside.
Yeah, credit to the senior Charlie Musich.
Timeout.
And
Serra.
timeout is taken by the Padres.
Yeah, Musich made a nice play, really got that stalemate and prevented the quarterback Mitchell from getting to the outside when he tried to cut it back to the inside, tripped over his own man. So good defensive play there by Serra. And we're talking about how good these coaches have been here, and talked about the way this program has turned around here for the Crusaders. You know, one guy here 25 years, one guy here 4 years, but still a lot of success on both sides. And there's just something about when you take over a program, Scott, that hasn't been going well lately, and it's kind of a slow burn. It's not going to switch overnight. But you got to give a lot of credit to somebody who can take over a team that's really struggling, bring in a new culture, bring in a new attitude, and then produce a situation like this with a chance to win a league championship.
Yeah, Channel 5 went out to profile Riordan football a few days ago, and I thought Coach Ravapati's comment was apt. He said, Riordan found me at the right time in my life, and I found Riordan at the right time in mine. And can't say it any better than that. Sometimes luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Back to action here, 2nd and 9 from the 16-yard line now. 1 timeout left in the ball game for Riordan, and the pass goes in the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown, Sinai Thomas, and Riordan goes on top for the first time this evening as they go to the fade ball in the corner, and that's the sort of magic on offense that we've seen from the Crusaders all year long.
Thomas down the field with a defender right there, gets touchdown number 12 on the season for him. Actually, it was pretty well covered in the end zone, just a really good throw and good concentration by Thomas on the catch. And just like that, Riordan has gotten the lead.
It will be a big drive coming up for the Padres as Wallace prepares for the extra point. And he boots that one through. 5:37 remaining, third quarter. It is now Riordan 21 and Serra 14. And it is felt that if Riordan wins this game, they're the undisputed #1 seed in the Open Division. Serra's feeling is that they don't know where they'll be put in the bracket, but that they'll be top 8 Open Division if they cannot win this one. Needless to say, a Serra win puts them in contention with Soquel, Los Gatos, and Palma in consideration for that top spot.
Boy, and oh, those short fields, Scott. Another touchdown on a short field, this one coming from 44 yards out. And the Riordan Crusaders now, after looking, rather sluggish to say the least in that early part of that first half, now with the lead. But, if you are the Serra Padres, you got to think we got to stop giving them these short fields, because when we do, they're taking advantage of it.
And one thing I asked Coach Walsh in our conversation was, are you going to put a spy on Michael Mitchell? And he said, no, we're not going to do that, because we run split coverages, and if we put one player on him to watch him on every snap, we're out of coverage. Here's the squib by Wallace, and Serra will wisely let this one roll right out of bounds. And they'll be presented with decent field position to start their next drive. And it has been a difficult to fathom start for Serra's offense in this second half. A fake punt that did not go the way they had hoped and left Riordan with a very short field, to your point. And then the turnover on downs in the middle of the field. The whole thinking on this in this sport has changed at every level, that you go for it a lot more often because the math says that's what you do. But, I have a feeling that Serra's going to not worry about diminishing returns, and they keep trying these plays that they think they'll work.
Well, you always hear be aggressive, and you want to play the numbers. And if you can be aggressive and play the numbers at the same time, that's, usually a good thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For Serra, a couple times it hasn't worked, and it's paid off handsomely for Riordan.
Walsh and Henley are once again back, and Serra has decided to make Riordan kick it again from the 35 this time. The olden days, this was the only outcome. You would just kick again. And Wallace may put a little more air into this. Indeed, he does. It's headed in the direction of Charlie Walsh, and he'll grab it at about the 28-yard line and head up into the middle of the field looking for blocking, and he gets hogtied right there. Looking for a flag, but it's coming. There it is. Pretty easy to see that he had been driven back by either the face mask or horse collared, and another Riordan error that will present Serra with football about the midfield.
Yeah, it looks like they were going to end up having worse field position from that last time, taking that penalty, but making him kick it again. But now this time it looks like they're going to get the penalty and should move him into pretty good shape.
There's no penalty.
No.
First down.
Boy, it sure looked like he grabbed a horse collar or a face mask.
Charlie Walsh wanted the call, didn't get it. Officials decided that the tackle was legal, or that if it was illegal, they did not see anything illegal about it from the angle that they had. So we move on. It will be 1st and 10 from the 29-yard line for Serra. 5:28 remaining in our third quarter. Riordan has scored the last 21 unanswered and leads 21-14. William Moore has been the quarterback for most of the game. The freshman tosses the screen left, caught by Walsh, and the first man won't let him out, and he ends up taking some more abuse as a result. He was trying to struggle out of the grasp of Judge Nash, and that will be a loss of 2.
Yeah, like so many He made a very nice leg tackle there to prevent any type of gain, and looks like got a tackle for a loss.
With all the wonderful ceremony honoring Father Bradley and so forth, the national anthem by the band, the Serra crowd dominated the first few minutes of this game tonight, and right now it is only Riordan's crowd that's making noise. Orr with a deep drop, pocket collapsing around him. He throws down the left sideline. He's got his man. It's caught for a big gain down to the 23-yard line. The ball comes out. The reception and run were made by Brody Smith. Serra will retain possession near the red zone on their first big pass play of the second half.
Oh, I was wondering to see if he made a little stutter step going down that far sideline to get away from the defender, or if that was just a go route. But boy, this is really hit in precision. And even with the quarterback having to move a little bit, able to step up there and make the really good throw downfield for the big play.
That puts the ball down at the 21-yard line after the short loss on the screen to Walsh. Serra's on the move, and that pass was thrown behind Walsh by Orr, who was looking to the outside shoulder. Instead, Orr threw it to the inside. So a miscue by the freshman QB, who taps himself, and it's like a pitcher who says, I threw it in the dirt. And the catcher's saying, well, I didn't. But you appreciate the gesture. 2nd and 10 from the 21.
Zachary Kleppen had something to do with that too. Got some pretty good pressure on Orr, and Orr kind of had to throw around him that time and could not make the accurate pass. So a good play by their Riordan defense. Can they make a couple of more here and force maybe a field goal attempt?
Walsh out to the wide side. Smith, who made the big catch just a moment ago, is to the short left side here from the hash. 4:14 remaining, third quarter. Riordan now leading by 7. Or fake handoff to Singleton. This ball gets swatted away. And that play was completely swallowed up by DJ Sanchez.
Boy, DJ Sanchez shot out of a cannon right up the middle. Somebody just forgot to block him, and he's able to knock down the pass. Boy, he just kind of, shot right through there, and nobody touched him. And Lucky Orr was able to get rid of the football at least.
Yeah, you see absolutely no blocking on Sanchez there. We'll get a good look at that one from our production crew. And it sets up a 3rd and 10. So after the big play, the next two weren't really on the money. And Serra's got to, if not get 10 here, they've got to get a significant chunk of the 10. 4:09 to go. Padres down by 7 in our third quarter. Or pass, wide open Cannon, turns the corner, shouldered out at the 5. 1st and goal. Serra is pushed out there by Sione Vaihola.
Good looking play on that far side of the field, able to complete it to his man Cannon, able to turn upfield and get that first down. That was a big play right there, because on that long yardage situation, you probably think they're kicking a field goal there, I would think. But there's that Cannon making the play and gives him the fresh set of down and a chance to punch one in and tie this up.
And very Kittle-ish. He has not been targeted a lot tonight, but seemingly coming up with the big catch and the yak when he is targeted by the quarterback. 1st and goal from what is deemed the 6, so a 15-yard reception for Cannon. Handoff goes to Singleton, trying to use his blockers, sliding forward. He's in there, and it's his 3rd touchdown of the night for the Padres. And we are an extra point away from being tied up again. It is now Serra trailing Riordan 21-20 with 3:57 left, third quarter.
Hat trick for Singleton, his 3rd touchdown of the game. This one goes 71 yards on the drive, and they were able to punch it in. And just like that, we were a point after him, having this game all tied up. What a great game here tonight.
And sure enough, this was the first chance, along with the Brody Smith catch a minute ago, for the home crowd here in San Mateo to come back into the proceedings. Mark's extra point is up, and it is good. 21 all, 3:57 remaining in the third quarter. The 9-0 Crusaders, the 6-3 Padres, both the only 2 undefeated teams left in West Catholic League play entering tonight. The winner will put the banner in their gym, and we we'll say it certainly a few more times before we sign off tonight, depending on the outcome. This one can end in a tie, and we could have co-champions.
This is kind of one you'd almost want to see go into overtime, but it's like both these teams are going on. They're both going to be in the playoffs. Why risk it getting anybody hurt? But co-champions just not quite as good as just having it all to yourself.
True enough. And for Singleton, 10 touchdowns on the year. 3 tonight against a vaunted Riordan defense. Team that has not had to play a lot of close games this year, and they found themselves in one. They've battled back, so after 21 straight points by the visiting team from SF, Serra gets the drive they needed to have, and they calmly go down and score the tying touchdown. This is going to be a touchback by rule in high school, even though Judge Nash wanted to bring it out.
He did.
He was 1 yard deep, and at the next level, where he's headed very soon, you can do that.
Yeah, don't want the extra injuries here if you have those kickoffs, and you know they haven't changed the rule here and doing what the pros do with that much shorter kickoff to try to spare some of the injuries. One goes in the end zone, just call it at the 20-yard line.
Okay, here we go. 3:56 remaining in the third quarter. Tie game once again. Mitchell throws to the right, and the reception made, and then stepping right out of bounds there for the first down catch is Sinai Thomas, who scored the touchdown that put Riordan in front earlier.
Like Thomas just on that little out pattern there, able to find some room. The blocking was good, and the pass was just about perfect. Good game there for Riordan.
16-yard advance. Now the handoff to Brown on 1st and 10. And Brown is met almost immediately by Tavita Haimuli, who was one of the leading tacklers in the first half for Serra. The Padres had 3 men credited with 4 tackles, Henley, Tafo'u, and
others.
Haimuli. And we have not yet seen Malachi Tafo'u return to action, but we'll keep an eye out for that. And hopefully he will be able to return. It was good to see Brown come back after he was banged up in the first half.
Yeah, it looked like he just pulled a muscle. They were able to work it out.
4-yard gain on that play for him. 2nd and 6. Mitchell dancing. Mitchell getting around Aaron Meyer, but only temporarily. Help coming in the form of Cornell James, and James makes the tackle about 2 yards shy of the line to gain for a first down. 3 minutes left, third quarter. Serra 21, Riordan 21, 3rd and 2 coming up on the 40-yard line of the Crusaders. Make that the 39.
It looked like Mitchell had the first down, and then when he kind of slipped, he didn't go forward at all. Very close to getting it, but still a very manageable situation here.
You'd think they would go to Brown and not risk putting the ball in the air. They keep it with Mitchell. He's got the first down in the slide, happening right in front of Tafo'u, who is back in the game. Good to see him back in the game as well. And it is a first down, Riordan.
Crusader 1st and 10 at the Crusader 47.
Yeah, one pass and a couple of runs here. One to Brown, a couple to the quarterback, Mitchell, and they're mixing it up very nicely here to start this drive.
8-yard gain for the Riordan quarterback, who's also one of their best rushers, and he's directing the offense so well now as he has done all year. Pocket holds for him, toss to the right. Judge Nash is there, That is Thomas to make the catch, and he steps out of bounds at the 40-yard line for another first down.
Yeah, well, like Thomas is just running down that far side, stops, comes back to the quarterback, and Mitchell able to hit him straight up, and it looks like using that running game there, Scott, they've been able to maybe keep the pass rush off of him a little bit, because he certainly had a lot more time to throw when he's chosen to do so.
2:07 left, third quarter, first down on the reception by Thomas, who's been the hot hand. It does seem the run has loosened it up for the pass in this third quarter for the Crusaders. Play action. Mitchell in trouble. Gets it away to Brown. He's scooting up the right sideline. He may go if he can burst through these last 2 tacklers. He does. He's in there. Touchdown, Crusaders from 40 yards. Adonye Brown.
So Brown, boy, making that catch, and he doesn't catch very many. They've got that those 4 wide receivers. They don't really have enough balls to go around here, but they find him here, and he's able to scoot down the sideline and get a touchdown. And boy, we have just got a a red-hot game going right now. Both teams going right up and down the field.
This is like watching that famous game on New Year's Day between the Dolphins and the Chargers. You see Brown limping off the field after the touchdown, and he is really giving it all he's got. And he certainly can't be 100% tonight, but it has not mattered. He has come and delivered and let the adrenaline do the talking for him. He's got another touchdown. It's now 28-21 after Wallace adds the extra point. 1:52 left third.
Yeah, Brown in the end zone again, third time this year. Third time tonight, I should say, coming in with 16 touchdowns. Give him 19 now for the season. And that's just a little bit surprising. They got something big in the passing game, but it wasn't to one of the wide receivers, Scott. It was to the running back who doesn't catch very many. And they get it here, and they get the huge play. Ends up being an 80-yard drive, Scott. We got the ball at 3:56 to go, so just a couple minutes, and they're able to go down the field and really mixed up the pass and the run really well that time, and able to take it the 80 yards to get the go-ahead score.
Yeah, it's looking like classic Riordan 2025 football here. This would be one of the biggest wins of Patrick Walsh's illustrious 25-year career, to steal the WCAL title from Riordan on his home field. And a long way to go here, but Riordan taking a little while to get going tonight, and now they've looked like themselves, and they're ahead by 7 once again. Charlie Walsh taking the kickoff from around his own 7. He's got blockers. He's got room. They try to strip the ball loose from him, but he's able to hold on. Good effort on the strip there by Caden Herman, the coverage man and a freshman for the Crusaders. And a great return there by Charlie Walsh, who's had his high points and his low points here tonight. And it is 1st and 10 for Junipero Serra at their 44-yard line.
Yeah, we just got a really good brawl going on right now. Somebody lands a good shot there, and the other team comes right back with one of their own. And they got that big return following the Riordan touchdown, and now Serra in business here.
And with Taufa'o back in the game and able to go, they run the double wing. They push him forward a la Philly style, and he's able to get past midfield, still on his feet. Officials allow this to continue, and he's into Riordan territory with a first down.
Not the prettiest looking play, but effective nonetheless. But just kind of looking like a rugby scrum, I guess you would say, Scott, just kind of pushing everything forward. There you go. There's another look at it.
8-yard gain on first down for 2nd and 2 from the Riordan 48.
Yeah, I would not describe that play as elegant, but certainly good yardage there on first down nonetheless.
Everyone here quite certain that the team is happy to win ugly tonight if it means they won.
Winning ugly is better than losing pretty, that's for sure.
Moore is back there to take the direct snap with Singleton to his right. The give will be to Isaiah, and they were all over that. He's dropped on the midfield line, and for a loss, is Riordan coming through with Sione Fainaika and Sawape Mafuangano once again, a senior and a freshman, reading that play so very well. Good preparation on their part, knowing what was coming.
Yeah, not letting that one. Fainaika, among others, getting through there and pushing that one back. Another tackle for loss. Boy, both teams seem like they've had more than their share of tackles for losses tonight, and yet giving up a fair share of yards as well.
Might be the final play of the third quarter. 3rd and 3, Serra from the Riordan 49, or has the pocket fall apart on him, and he takes the sack. Another great defensive play for the Crusaders, and this time it's a man who's having a huge night, DJ Sanchez, and Serra may have to punt now when we begin the fourth quarter. We have seen time expire here in quarter number 3. It will be 4th and 9 when play resumes. And really the first rush around the edge there by Tuefua, one of their leading tacklers tonight, was the catalyst for that sack. So holistically, he gets credit. And Serra is faced with a difficult go-for-it choice on 4th and 9, or having to punt down by a touchdown when we go to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they've been kind of snake-bit in this situation right now. I don't know if you're a little bit gun-shy or you want to be aggressive, but Tafita looked like on that blitz, Scott, he was kind of hiding behind a defender, and at the last moment kind of sprung into action, getting across the line. I think it really caught Orr by surprise, and they end up getting the sack. And let's see how Coach Walsh is gonna use this situation because some of these have not gone his way here tonight.
That's Tony Schultz. I'm Scott Armstrong. Pleasure to be with you here. Pat O'Rourke and Stephen Shea on assignment. We appreciate the chance to stand in for one of the big games of the year in these parts, and it's been every bit as expected. Saul Marks back to punt. No fooling around this time. He gets it, and he hits it well with that right foot. And this might be another opportunity for Serra to down it inside the 5, and that's exactly what it is. As the Up men were all over it there, and finally fallen on by Carson Strain. Mateo Gamblin also in the area in pursuit. So Serra doing the right thing, at least in this reporter's estimation, and playing the field position game. Riordan's going to start another drive from about its own 4-yard line.
Yeah, but in this situation, you want to be aggressive and you like to go for it, and they've got the offense and the firepower to do it. But when you've been burned a couple of times, Scott, and now later in the game and you're down by a touchdown, do you really want to give them good field position again?
It has been a tough night on special teams for Serra, but the last couple of efforts have been much better. Walsh's nice kickoff return after the touchdown, and then right here they pin him. And that was overall a 51-yard punt and no return. And the handoff goes right out of the gate to the number 11 for Riordan. That's Justin Miranda. So you do wonder about Brown's availability if you're handing off to Miranda. Not saying he's not capable, but we have not seen a lot of him tonight. As you look over his numbers, he's carried for 106 yards and a touchdown on the year across 21 carries. So we'll see if Brown returns as Miranda goes out to Mitchell's right. That was a loss of 1. 2nd and 11 from Riordan's own 3-yard line. Up by 7, 28-21, as we are 1 minute into the final quarter. Mitchell to Miranda again. Got to get out of his own end zone. He does. First man to hit him is Haimuli, who's having a real good night. And they get a little breathing room here, but it's going to be 3rd and about 8.
Yeah, earlier in the first half, they had a punt situation, did Serra, and they were able to pin the Crusaders back at their own 3. That ended up being a punt on that possession. So the Padres kind of looking for the same thing. Pin them deep here, hold them, get them to punt from deep in their own end, and get some good field position for yourself.
This is marked at the 6. It's 3rd and 8. They've got to get to the 14. Mitchell back to pass in his own end zone. Throws to the left. It is caught for a first down.
Fumble.
And then the ball's out. And who's got it? This is a scramble. The reception was made by Judge Nash, but then the ball came out as he tried to juke for extra yards, and he, fortuitously for the Crusaders, and he took a hit doing it, got the football back. First down, Riordan.
Well, that was a great throw by Mitchell on that deeper out pattern, getting that ball to the sideline in good shape. Look at the missile he throws here. Gets him to him in really good shape as he's able to shake the coverage, but then right here, the ball's going to come out, knocked away, and then very fortunate for Riordan that they're able to recover it. That was Aaron Mayer who knocked it out, and that could have been a huge play in this game.
1st and 10, Riordan from the 20. And the give this time is going to go to Chase Elzy, who had 1 carry in the first half. So I think this is a clear sign that if Adonai Brown's going to come back in this game, it's not going to be for a while. They're going to, with the 7-point lead, they go to RB2, RB3, RB4. And that is a good gain, though, for Elzy out to the 25-yard line. Credit where credit is due for him in the O-line.
Yeah, made a nice move in the backfield to get away from the initial defender to make it a positive play. But just like they say, Scott, you're going to have injuries in this game. It's next man up, and it's next man up right now for Riordan.
Elzy, handoff fake to him. Jump pass, Mitchell, caught by Kyle Welch, but he was then roped down around the line to gain. The official said that he made the reception on the line to gain. It is a first down for Riordan, and now they begin to get to play the clock. It's their friend, it's Serra's enemy. 9:19 remaining, first down Crusaders.
You were talking about 30s and 40s style. That almost looked like a jump pass right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one that you saw in the old days. But again, kind of an odd looking play, but effective here for Riordan.
Slinging Sammy Baugh.
I was thinking Charlie Connerly, but I guess that's not far enough back, right?
No, I mean, that's about the same amount of time.
Is it?
No, we're there. Leather helmets, poke in the eye, Bob St. Clair eating raw meat, the whole thing. We're there. We got it. And for our viewers who are like, who are these guys' names they keep mentioning? Google it.
Well, if you watch a lot of NFL films, you'll know. But like they said, that those old jump passes, and the reason they stopped doing that because by the time you came down, the defender was right on you.
Meantime, the football has been marked back at the 20-yard line. There must have been a penalty that we missed somewhere, and there have been many tonight. We apologize for getting wrapped up in our old man stories and not paying attention to the game, but a penalty against Riordan, wherever it came from, has put the ball back on the 20-yard line. So it's 2nd and 10. So the reception for Welch does not count. Mitchell having to pump once, pump twice, in trouble, nearly lost the football, and there's a nice, nearly one-handed sack by the 230-pound freshman, Taupaki Latu.
Yeah, Latu in there, able to disrupt that play, and it looked like Mitchell was trying to run away, then ran into his own man, and then Latu was right there to finish off the play.
And he's rushing the left side there, going up against Michael Lange, and just defeating his man, coming right off him, pushing Lange away and saying, nope, no you don't. Now that's a huge play here if Riordan cannot convert to a new set of downs. 8:25 and ticking. Again, you see the Crusaders being more deliberate now in the huddle, using the clock as they should with the 28-21 lead. 3rd and 16 for the visitors from San Francisco on their own 14-yard line. Mitchell the snap, the play is blown dead, it won't count, and we await the ruling.
Timeout. Riordan.
Boy, they looked like they were running the ball on that time as if to concede the drive and go ahead and punt it away, and then they call timeout anyway. So what would you discuss here? Are we gonna throw the ball deep in our own end here on a 3rd and very long situation? I have to think they're just gonna go ahead and run a play, run the ball and punt the ball away.
And it is not for me to nitpick. I've never been a football coach or a player. I am a couch potato on Saturdays and Sundays like many of us, but I will just say this. Riordan had no timeouts left at the end of the first half. They were not able to stop the clock regardless of what Mitchell did on that controversial play. They had just used their last timeout of the second half with 8:11 to go.
And that, you're saying that, they needed that drive, and instead of an 80-yard drive that would have scored a touchdown, ended up being 78 yards. And because, Scott, they didn't have that one timeout left, they couldn't run an extra play, and the drive fell short.
However, we know Riordan has the firepower through the passing game to get out of a 3rd and 16 and really take the life out of this crowd, which is beginning to come back to life here at Brady Family Stadium. Big play here. Mitchell dropping back, looking deep, pulls it down. He may run. Nope. He's pointing out a man. He tosses. It is juggled. It is either an interception or an incompletion. The ruling is incomplete. But either way, this is a great result for the Padres, and they're going to force Riordan into a punt. It'll be 4th and 16 from the Crusader 14, and theoretically Serra would get the football back with decent field position to go on the game-tying drive.
Well, you see it there. This ball should be intercepted. And, a couple of times when Serra has decided to punt the football, they've been able to pin Riordan deep. One time in the first half, and this last possession here, they have been able to defensively get a stop, force a punt, and get good field position for themselves, and they're going to get it right here.
And you got to hand it to Serra's coverage right there. They stayed in coverage. Mitchell was out of options. You knew he was not going to be able to run for the first down, and now Connor Wallace standing right on his own goal line will have to punt it away. And we have a break in the action here.
I think they're trying to tell everybody to get back on the sideline here on the Serra side.
Timeout for injury.
Okay. It's Charlie Walsh who might be banged up possibly. No. He's staying on the field. Well, we're trying to visually identify who might be hurt. It might have been the player who nearly came up with the interception. There we are. And under modern procedure, and this is the right thing to do, we saw it in the first half, holding up the game when there's an injured player this close to game action, this close to the fray. We'll pause things here for a moment. I told you that SI prevailed in the Bruce Mahoney game earlier. There were a couple other ball games in the West Catholic League tonight. Valley Christian at St. Francis. And the final there, St. Francis winning 35-28, the Lancers over the Warriors. So that's one result from league action here tonight. And our other game pitted Bellarmine against Mitty. We've got this sorted out. And Mitty winning that one 42-0 over the Bells. All right, ready with the punt. 4th and 16 from the 14. 7:59 remaining. Riordan ahead by 7. Wallace gets this away. It's high, but it's not deep. Walsh returns on his own 39. Hit by 1, hit by 2. Carrying it forward to about the 35 and finally driven back by a host of tacklers. Marvelous field position for the Padres now, taking over with 7:45 remaining and trailing by 7.
And sometimes it's better to not be aggressive. Take the punt, pin him, stop them, get good field position, and boy, they are going to get great field position here. There you see the return, but right now, Serra set up really, really well here, Scott, and a chance to tie this game.
And Wallace making the choice to kick shorter but higher to avoid a block, but potentially also to see if Walsh would muff, which happened in the first half and led to good things for Riordan. All right, Serra taking over 1st and 10 on the Riordan 36, trailing by 7. Winner takes home the WCAL championship for 2025. Walsh in motion to the left slot. Smith, far left, 2 receivers right. William Orr looks deep. It is caught. It is a touchdown for Charlie Walsh. Bing, bang, boom, and Serra's 1 point out of the lead just like that.
Charlie Walsh looked like he's just running the go route, able to beat the defender. And boy, did Orr put that exactly right where it had to be. What a perfect throw. And just like that, they connect. They get the defensive stop. They get the good field position. They turn it into one play, a big play touchdown, and a point after away from tying up this game.
Patrick Walsh told us that coaching his son, even though these have all been like his sons in 25 years, it hits different to be coaching Charlie. And this place is rocking. This crowd can be heard in Belmont right now. The kick by Marks is held by Walsh, is good, and the erstwhile Chewbacca mascot of this football team has just caught the touchdown pass that has brought his team level. 7:38 to go. A 35-yard touchdown pass play from Orr to Walsh. It is Serra 28 and Riordan 28, and we sure figure you're not going anywhere for the next 7:38, friends.
Now, this just turned into such a great game. It looked like it was going to be one-sided early, anything but that now. And Riordan on that previous possession with a 1-score lead had a long way to go, but looked like they could have put a hammer lock on this thing if they had put a drive together. Instead, they get stopped, and Riordan comes right back with a big play of their own to tie things up.
Indeed, for the visiting team coming in with the undefeated record and so much elite talent, having a relatively easy go of it through the first 9 games. And they have been put to the test here on the road against a team with a more established track record of success coming off a rough year in 2024. And Riordan trying to make it 2 wins in a row in the Baxter Trophy game. Still 7:38 left to do that. Marks kick will head well into the end zone. Touchback, 1st and 10, Riordan on the 20.
Well, if there's a bright spot for Riordan, the touchdown was so quickly, they've got plenty of time to mount a drive to win this game. It would have been doubly tough had they given up several first downs, a lot of time running off the clock, and then see the Padres punch it in for a touchdown. But of course, he didn't want to give up the tying touchdown. But the fact that they did, at least they have a lot of time here with which to mount a drive.
It will be interesting to see how Coach Ravapati and his staff play this, because they could theoretically hang on to the football and take it down for the winner and not let Serra have it back. And they certainly start with that approach. The give is to Brown off the left side, and you see him get up and favoring his leg almost in Kirk Gibson type fashion. He's going to go whether he is 100%, 60%, or less than that. And you can see him kind of pulling at that leg, but he does pick up a couple of yards, 2nd and 8.
A real important situation here for Riordan. Don't want to give Serra a chance to get the ball back and get the win, at least not before you, Riordan, have scored points of your own.
Mitchell looking deep. He's got a man. It's a jump ball. It's incomplete. No, and there's a flag. The back judge had no flag. The side judge said there was interference, face guarding. As Kyle Welch was going for the football, the Serra defender did not turn back for it, in fairness.
Yeah, that's Goldbeck. Did not look back for the ball, like you said, and he did make some contact. That's going to draw the flag every time.
Yeah, it was slight. The Serra fans may not like it, but I do think the right call was made. And at this level, it's only 15, so it's not the end of the world. Doesn't suddenly set up Rirodan in the other side of the field.
We got another injury here.
We have not stated it in these terms, partner, but those of you watching at home and certainly those in the stadium will take note that it has been a very physical game.
Well, it gives me time to tell a story about Coach Walsh when first was interviewing 25 years ago for the job here at Serra. And he goes into the interview room, and in that room, there's the priest, the principal, the president, and Tom Brady. And Tom Brady wasn't the Tom Brady we think of now, but he was still ex-Michigan quarterback, a pro quarterback, and of course a Serra legend. And he says to himself, that's the guy I got to convince right there. Tom Brady is the guy I got to convince. The other guy's okay, you know, you want to make a good impression on them, but Tom Brady's the guy I got to win over to get the job, and he did, and here he is with a chance to win a championship.
Charlie Musich was the injured Padre. He is up on his own power and off to the sideline, and it is a 1st and 10 after the pass interference on the Rirodan 37. The give is to Brown through the middle. Got a couple there, and then is brought down by Fehoko. You know, I wonder if Patrick Walsh and Tom Brady have ever had a conversation about who was the better baseball player. Because Brady, of course, was drafted by the Expos. Walsh, of course, had a college career at an elite baseball school.
He went to Texas, right?
That's right. He transferred to Texas.
Ended up doing some coaching there and got to be good friends, and he still is, with Ricky Williams.
2nd and 8 from the 39. 6:15 remaining. Game tied at 28. Pass is complete, and then a slip tackle, and here goes Sinai Thomas for another touchdown. What a great night for Thomas. Rirodan back in the lead with 6:05 remaining. 63-yard touchdown pass, Mitchell to Thomas. They have been connected well all night long.
Oh, Thomas dozen touchdowns now on the year. Made a great move to get away after he juggled the ball a little bit. There, Scott, able to haul it in and then make a move, get away from the defender, and pure speed going down the sideline here on the near side. And you talk about throwing a punch, taking one, and then throwing one right back to get the lead here. And I mean, have we seen just a great football game here tonight, going back and forth?
The hold by Angelis, the kick by Wallace, and PAT is tacked on. Rirodan 35, Serra 28, 6:05 remaining. You know, Sinai's an interesting story in terms of where he's headed next, because he's been committed to Oregon State for quite a while, or his brother Skyler is one of the leading men in the secondary. But he recently took a visit to Wazoo because of the uncertainty around what Oregon State's coaching staff is going to look like next year. So there's a young man who's got some things to think about. Does he want to go and follow in his brother's footsteps as a Beaver, or perhaps head up to the Palouse? So meantime, he's having a gargantuan night, and he has staked his team to a 7-point lead with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, not exactly a bad choice either way. It's really nice to have options, and the young man certainly does.
And he, like the rest of the Rirodan passing game, was largely held down in the first half. He had that 31-yard reception in the first quarter, but he has come alive in this second half. Second touchdown of the game for him. Remember, he caught that fade ball earlier that really kind of got Rirodan going.
Yeah, so that gives him a baker's dozen, actually. 13 touchdowns on the year, not 12. I don't want to short him.
Wallace will pop this one up. It is caught on this near left side, and then a pitch battle right there after the short game. Gamblin taking the kickoff and quickly tackled there. So Pivotal drive now for the Padres if they want to tie the game, and we're beginning to get to the point now where you would think about going for the win. If you're either coach, and with the decision, I would think Serra would be more inclined to do that than Riordan. But we're not there yet. 6:03 to go. Riordan's got an undefeated record to consider. Serra does not. Meantime, Orr is in deep trouble, but he gets out of there, and he's tackled by the shoestrings as he began to get away. Nice one by Skylar Tiatia, who has been one of the stars for Riordan all season, and again here tonight. Orr is tripped up at his 39-yard line for a 5-yard gain. Clock ticking, 5:40 remaining.
Yeah, Tiatia with a really important tackle right there. It looks like Orr is going to have a much bigger gain if Skylar does not make that tackle. It's a halfway decent gain anyway, Scott, but that could have been a lot more.
Serra back up on the football with under 5.5 to go, trailing 35-28. WCAL championship game has been a barn burner. Handoff goes to the middle to Singleton, and he is able to pick up the first down as he falls forward to the 45-yard line of the Padres. And there have been a lot of miscues, a lot of penalties, a couple of controversial calls, but generally the young men have shined in this moment to elite teams here. Either of them could make a deep run in the postseason.
Yeah, we were talking about the passing game that's been so great for Riordan this year, that not really showing itself, but they did get a couple of those pass interference plays. They did get that pass, that touchdown pass on that last drive, so all of a sudden that is making their presence felt in the passing game.
Orr is flushed and he throws incomplete, well short of the receiver in the area. That was Walsh.
Were they saying he was out of the pocket there? Because that certainly was not a blue shirt in the vicinity.
It doesn't look like Riordan is heavily disputing that call, as they have, and with perhaps good reason, disputed some tonight. And we are not trying to say they're the only one of the teams that has disputed any calls. But on that one, it looks like all agreed that it was a legit dump by William Orr, who we were told it was possible Bandel would get the lion's share of the snaps tonight, but it has been the freshman, and he has performed ably here. 4:48 remaining, 2nd and 10 from the Serra 45. Orr looking down the middle, and he overthrew a wide open receiver, and that would have been a big one for Brody Smith.
It looked like Brody didn't see the ball when it initially left his hand because he was not in a full sprint cutting across the field. So the ball therefore was overthrown. The ball, maybe it was thrown a little bit earlier than Brody thought it was going to be, because he certainly, partner, was wide open, and that looked like it was going to be a touchdown hookup.
And Jamont Brown had given him a buffer, as you can see here on the initial replay. But yeah, he was wide open. That was the tying touchdown line right there on a platter, and that's a throw that young William Orr will want back. So that stops the clock with 4:42 remaining, and Serra again is thinking in terms of 4-down territory. They do not want to have to punt. Down by 7. Orr's first read was over the middle. He's being chased. He's out of the pocket. He's going to go for it. He's going to gain some yardage. He's in Riordan territory, about 4 yards short of the first down, and ultimately put on the ground there by Isaiah Grant. But at least this is a makeable 4th down for the Padres.
You got to say they're going to go for it here with how aggressive they've been in this particular situation. It's a makeable situation here for them, but Isaiah Grant stayed right with the receiver, kind of playing monkey in the middle here, then comes off here to make the tackle and prevent the first down. That's really a great play by Grant. He read that perfectly.
And I got to be honest, this was a good spot. This was a favorable spot given to Orr based on the replays that we saw and the naked eye as well. And he looked to land with 4 yards to go, and they're going to say he needs 3. So timeout. 1 left now for Serra. This is a Serra timeout, as we have documented. Riordan doesn't have any timeouts left. They took their last timeout with 8:11 remaining. And that means that this game is going to largely play out without interruptions by the coaches.
But something else is going to happen. There's going to be some other stoppages, I'm sure. But it's been an absolutely great game, Scott. It's been great to be out here with you in this championship night. And you talk about a festive activity. Look around here. There is not an open seat to be had. And as far as parking, there is not a parking spot to be had either. I know I had to park several blocks away. But that Grant's great play over there and set up this what could be a very pivotal play here in this game. Is Serra going to keep this drive alive, or is Riordan going to get the last chance to score and or at least get the ball back and win this game?
I will drive you back to your car for a nominal fee. Okay, maybe the hinge play of the ball game right here. If Serra can't convert, Riordan takes over at midfield. 4th and 3, or kind of spinning around. They've got it. They've got the screen. It's caught by Singleton. He's got some room. He sheds a man. He's down to the 20-yard line. They needed 3, and they got 32. 1st and 10, Serra with under 4 minutes to go as they drive toward the tying touchdown. Riordan leading 35-28, but what a big conversion for the Padres.
Boy, Singleton's been in the end zone a few times here tonight, made big plays there, but none bigger than this particular play here to keep this drive alive and set them up for what could be the tying touchdown, or maybe with a 2-point conversion, the go-ahead and winning score. But we had a flag on the far side of the field right where Singleton was running past. It's probably going to be a hold against Serra.
Did it happen after the first down? It was a 28-yard gain.
Illegal block.
10-yard penalty was spotted foul. Replay 4th down.
All right, that wipes out a massive play for the Padres, and now you are in the position of having to potentially, well, the way that the ball is spotted, we're right back where we started. So they gained a yard. If this is really 4th down and 2, we previously had 4th down and 3.
And I'm just asking, where did that penalty occur? Because was that situation that we've been talking about earlier in the game where with the play, you have the first down, then you commit the penalty, to try to get more yards, and you just really shoot yourself in the foot when you would have had a first down, but that's all over now.
Down marker says 4, and we've got a whistle, and Serra's going to use its final timeout with 3:20 remaining. Scoreboard here in the stadium, folks, says 1st down and 2. The down marker that you can see on your screen at home says it's 4th down and 2. So what's interesting to me here is we had the illegal block in the back, Serra getting a first down on the play. The ball was 4th and 3, and that could be argued over anyway. 4th and 3 from the 48 of Riordan when the last play was snapped. So even though an illegal block in the back has caused Serra to redo the 4th down, they get to do it with 1 less yard to have to gain to keep the drive going.
Because from where the penalty occurred is where they marked the ball back from.
But in other levels of football, it's not a first down and then you start 1st and 10 from this spot. It is deemed to be a 4th down play, and we're back in the same huge scenario for the Padres offense. If they give the ball back to Riordan, they're unlikely to see it again. Or looking for that first down pass, and it is dropped. It is dropped by Brody Smith. It would have been the first down. Riordan holds, and with 3:15 remaining, the Crusaders take over on their own 47-yard line. Yet another turnover on downs for this Riordan defense, and the Padres thought they should have had that one.
Yeah, but this one not very controversial. You know you're going to go for it on this situation, and they had it, and Brody kind of turning back in toward the quarterback. Looks like he's open and has a chance to catch this. Look at this combination route. They're going to go one over the other. Going to cut inside of the other receiver. Had room and just couldn't quite hold on. Boy, that's one he wishes he had back.
And neither team has any timeouts. We do not have a 2-minute timeout or a 2-minute warning or whatever the powers that be want to phrase it.
Yeah.
And so there's no ability of either team to stop the clock. And here comes Brown. And Brown is gone. And this is the touchdown that is going to seal it for the Crusaders. 53-yard run. Adonye Brown has been persevering all night through an injury he is clearly nursing, but he does not mind right now. He is looking every bit 100%, and he has put his team in the driver's seat with his 4th touchdown of the night to give Riordan an undefeated season, the WCAL championship, and the top seed in the CCS playoffs.
Yeah, Brown exploding into the secondary. Talk about how impressed I was, Scott, with his speed, his flat-out sheer speed. You don't really expect that from a power back like Brown, but he has showed that, used it right there for another touchdown, his 20th of the year. The extra point is good. And here we go, a 2-touchdown lead for the Crusaders. Slow start. really fast finish, and it looks like they're going to be undefeated going into the playoffs.
Our viewers joining us a little later in the evening, you might have had other things going on or at another game or watching another game here on a Friday night. Serra had a 14-0 lead in the first quarter, and it was just such a slow start for Riordan's offense, characterized by some mishaps. Serra, however, it must be said, in the special teams game, has not done themselves any favors tonight.
Been a huge problem here tonight, Scott, and really when you look back on it, what was the difference in the game as far as Serra is concerned? That's going to be it. You have to point right to there when you set up the Crusaders on that short field. And then, of course, give the Crusaders credit, too. They did take advantage of those situations, but they gave them too many chances.
Well, it's not done and dusted yet. 3:07 remaining, 2-touchdown game. It will be up to William Moore and the Padres offense to try to strike very quickly. They have the benefit of the clock stopping to move the chains. As you can see on your picture, the Riordan players are firing up their fans who've made the journey from the farther north reaches of the peninsula, and it might just be the first WCAL championship for Archbishop Riordan in a quarter century. But first we have a big kickoff return here from Singleton, who is dragged down from behind in Riordan territory at the 45-yard line of the Crusaders. So real nice return to set up the Padres, and most of these fans are not heading to the exits. A few are, but that could also be just because it's like Dodger Stadium tonight. It's tough to,
tough to get out of here. Got to beat the crowd.
Beat the traffic back to El Camino Real. But we are not done yet here, folks. If Serra gets in the end zone, you would expect an onside kick. We have 3 minutes remaining. Riordan 42, Serra 28. And we have seen the ability of Serra's offense to strike quickly. So they're going to be pass and pass exclusively now with no ability to stop the clock. Or facing pressure. Almost hit from behind. The pass sails a little wide of Walsh, who had come across from his original route. Good pursuit there on the part of Owe Angeles.
Look at Swape, number 58, limping off. Looked like he was hurt. To hobble off into that far side. Hope that he's okay. But I might have spoke a little too soon here, Scott. We still got some time here.
And as you've said throughout the night, Tony, these two teams' seasons is far from over. Serra's going to get a high seed in the Open Division. Riordan, if the result holds, is going to be the number 1 seed, and then in the position of having to hold serve at home on their home turf there near Ocean Avenue in the city. We're a long way from that. Or gets out of trouble. But again, the pass sails incomplete. He has shown some escapability, but Riordan has been able to blanket in coverage, and we're down to 3rd and 10 with 2:43 remaining. Riordan holding the 42-28 lead.
Yeah, boy. Orr is just under pressure here. Pressure there, breaks a tackle. Pressure there, breaks another tackle. Here comes another guy for the second chance. Still can't come up and get him. That was actually a really great-looking play. Unfortunately, unable to complete the pass downfield. But, boy, you talk about elusiveness. You saw it right there.
And they may end up having to take the delay a game here if they don't have the play in, because, again, neither team can stop it. And might be watching and saying a 9th grader can get away from this defense like that. Yeah. And then the Riordan folks are saying, we got a guy like that who was playing like that as a 9th grader. His name's Michael Mitchell. Orr's pass over the middle will be caught this time by Cannon. Cannon breaking off a big gain here, refusing to go down. He's got to hold on to the football, though. Better be careful. Tackle eventually made by Thomas. Sinai Thomas, who's had such a huge night offensively. Zachary Kleppen helping there as well. It will be marked down at the 25-yard line of the Crusaders. Clock holds with 2:32 remaining. Serra trailing by 14, but on the move.
Get the chain set, start rolling that clock.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, 2 scores, never over with 2 scores. You always think that you can score, you can get an onside kick, not really good odds, but certainly not 0.
You have to think that if it's not going to the end zone on this play, it's going to the end zone real soon. Orr is kind of looking that way. He will not get away, though, and he is wrestled down and sacked by Zachary Kleppen. And that will bring us under 2 minutes as Serra tiredly heads back to the line of scrimmage looking for the next play. That might have just about done it.
Boy, Kleppen makes a great play, and we saw with Orr's ability to escape. This is even a doubly great play because he's able to hang on and get the sack here, not let Orr get away, and that is going to cost the Padres a whole lot of time.
Clock reading 1:40 remaining. Singleton flashes out left in motion. Orr is going to get away and run for the sticks, try to get the first down. He's close. I don't think he got it, though. That means the clock's going to keep moving. It was 2nd and 18 from the 33 as that play was run. Let's see how the officials
stopped it.
And they give him the benefit of the doubt. They go ahead and say he made it to the 15-yard line, and it looks like they're going to move those chains. That stops the clock with 1:29 remaining. Serra trailing 42-28, but a touchdown here in brief might give them some hope. And I mean, they've got to do it quickly to get in the end zone for the first time. But nice run here by Orr, also the beneficiary of a favorable spot, in my opinion.
But able to get that necessary yardage, save himself quite a bit of time. But like you said, Scott, they've got to get in the end zone here pretty quickly, or even if they get the onside kick, they're not going to have any time to mount a drive.
Yeah, short gain there, though. Puts you 2nd and 8 from the 7. 1 minute remaining. Orr looking for the end zone. Pass is either caught or trapped by Jace Cannon. I'm looking around for a ruling. The officials are looking like they're getting ready to put the ball down. Okay, so the pass was good.
Caught. Wow.
Clock is stopped. 56 seconds left. 1st and goal now. We're under a minute. Orr is going to shove forward Philly style, looking for the end zone. We do not have a signal from the officials. They are unpiling. It looks like he's going to be short. 2nd down is being signaled by our lead official, Mike Adam. And there is a massive pileup there. You know, Riordan's holding up things to make sure that the snap cannot be taken. Of course, the clock is now still moving. And finally, the clock is frozen with 29 seconds to go.
And an unusual situation. Why did they stop the clock? Because, I mean, if Riordan is really preventing them from getting back into the huddle, that would be a delay of game call. So, Scott, I'm a little unsure as why they stopped the clock here.
Officials have also told the Riordan coaching staff to get off the field. They, again, running all the way down to the end zone. So that may be part of this.
Score is good.
Okay. Here we go.
They have given the touchdown to William Orr. And the clock is going to be reset to 43 seconds. So after crew discussion, Serra is in the end zone. We are not done yet here, folks. It is now 42-34, 43 seconds remaining. William Orr on the keeper gets into the end zone, and an extra point is coming up.
Yeah, and you got to like the fight here from Serra, going down 2 touchdowns with just a few minutes to go. 3 minutes to go was when Serra got the ball back, and just no quit in them at all. Scott going right back down the field, and now they got to make this extra point here and then recover an onside kick to give them a little bit of hope.
Marks preparing for the point after. He's got it. 42-35. 43 seconds left. So again, after the clock was allowed to run, the officials unpiled, and they determined it was a touchdown. We were looking for a signal from either of the boundary officials, did not see one, but I think the umpire and the referee may have gotten together and say, did you see him break the plane? And somebody must have said yes.
Somebody said yes. And on the previous play too, Scott, I thought the ball was incomplete on that catch near the goal line, and I'm looking for a signal, did not see one. I just assumed, or from my vantage point, I thought the ball was incomplete. Turns out it was complete. Turned out to be a big play for Serra.
Well, Serra got the first part of this improbable rally in place. Now they've got to figure out how to recover an onside kick. They do that, and suddenly things are going to get real tense on the far sideline, and this crowd here on the near sideline is going to be wondering, hey, have we got a chance? Here comes the onside kick.
Boy, that ball is
not
loose.
For certain. Is it Serra ball? Is it Serra ball? We await a ruling.
Serra thinks they have it. They're jubilant coming off the field. I haven't seen a signal, though.
The officials are all walking forward into the center of the field. Adir Rabapati is in the center of the field as well, and yet again being chased back. Okay, did it travel 10 yards? Did it touch a Riordan player? Well, it has to do one or the other before Serra can recover it. And huge moment in this game. And I'm seeing Mike Adam pointing in Riordan's direction. We have a flag out, and that means that this is probably going to be Riordan's
That means it didn't go 10 yards.
Therefore, a delay of game on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty.
They're going to re-kick. Well, I'll be darned. With 37 seconds left, Serra trailing by 7. The ruling is delay of game. So all of the trickeration there with the kick forward by Marks, trying to recover his own onside kick, that did not happen in the eyes of the scorebook. And we are going to do it again.
But I did like the way they kicked that, and they were so close to the ball as it was rolling, Scott, and then took a little bit of a kangaroo hop right before it got to the Riordan player. Boy, that was gut-wrenching right there. That was very nearly a successful onside kick recovery.
Sinai Thomas, by the way, is in that spot right there at the near side of your screen, exactly where you think this kick might go, because they can't do the same thing twice, can they? Okay, it goes forward again. It's up in the air. It is picked up by none other than Adonye Brown on midfield, and Riordan has it. And they are going to survive, and jubilation for the folks from Phelan Avenue as we are moments away, potentially, from the first Archbishop Riordan Crusader title in WCAL football in 25 years.
Well, congratulations to Riordan and Donye Brown scoring 4 touchdowns and really getting that running game going. But just that was probably the biggest play he made all night, was right there, recovering that onside kick.
I think he has a few Player of the Week
Yes, he does.
accolades coming, Cal High Sports, you name it. 4 touchdowns, recovering the onside kick, showing bravery through a leg injury. It was a shoulder injury that he sustained in the Sacred Heart Cathedral game that kept him out for several weeks. And Michael Mitchell Jr. simply has to take a knee. There are no timeouts remaining for either side with 41 seconds left. There's the knee.
Will take a knee.
And that's going to be the ball game. And what a ball game it was. And we were so fortunate to have witnessed it and brought it to you. The final score of the WCAL season finale and de facto championship game.
Scott, that was a great game, and we see a lot of high school football, and so often these scores, and just reading the game log earlier for Serra, and Riordan in a lot of blowouts. Nothing like that here tonight. Back and forth we go, and turns out to be a shootout. What a great game! It was great to work with you, Scott.
Likewise, and our final score: the Riordan Crusaders 42 and the Serra Padres 35. Now we can confirm it, we can announce it, and the Crusader Nation can begin to celebrate their first West Catholic League title since the year 2000. The Crusaders were league champions in 1971, 1972, and 2000. Their previous CCS title came back in 2007. And for the Serra Padres, they were not favored tonight. They had a 2-touchdown lead early in the ball game, and this was a back-and-forth affair in the second half, partner. It could have been either team's ball game, but these are 2 teams that may well see each other again in the CCS Open Division playoffs, and I think many an observer would welcome a rematch because both these teams have a chance to go very far into the playoffs.
And that would be a ticket worth buying, because what we saw tonight, what we've seen from these 2 teams all year long, you got to figure if they match up again, they're going to put on another great performance.
And that also means that for only the second year in running and for only a handful of times throughout the trophy's history, Riordan retains the John Baxter Memorial Trophy, played to honor the late coach who worked on the staffs of both the Crusaders and the Padres. So the Riordan Crusaders complete the season at 10-0, and our WCAL champion, Serra, concludes the regular year at 6-4.
And the last thing I'll say is good luck to both these teams in the playoffs the rest of the way, and got to give a lot of credit to Coach Rivapati to coming on here 4 years ago, and a team and a program that was down, and look where they are now. A chance to complete a perfect season here in 25.
4 years with Michael Mitchell Jr. as the quarterback. He's headed to Vanderbilt. So many players on both sides are headed to football at the highest collegiate level next year, and we cannot wait to see what these 2 programs do in the postseason. So again, partner, appreciate the kind words. It was great to get to work it with you, and we're looking forward to playoff football here in Northern California, and these are 2 great teams that might go far.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Scott.
On behalf of my broadcast partner Tony Schultz and our Bay Area Sports TV crew, this is Scott Armstrong saying so long from San Mateo, California. In our WCAL championship match, the final score once again was the Archbishop Riordan Crusaders 42 and the Junipero Serra Padres 35. Thanks for watching Bay Area Sports TV. Have a good night and a great weekend.
Sure those athletes knew he cared about them as people first and athletes second.